It's time for a little Funky Friday. From their funky hidden headquarters, your hosts, Keith and Gary. Not Jerry.
Happy Friday, everybody. My goodness, what a day. Well, before we started the show, there was a lot of cock being thrown around.
And John finally got a comeback. It only took him till November.
I know, man.
And
He's
I
finally
quote,
coming out of that shell.
and I quote, John, it took till November for a comeback that wasn't on your ass.
Oh my goodness.
So you took your
30
comeback
seconds.
literally.
We're a minute in and the shit
A
talking.
lot of
is already begun.
homoeroticism around these here parts.
Man,
I'll tell you what,
took full
welcome to
10
the U.S.
seconds.
military.
I'm Canadian.
Dick
I'd
jokes
never
and
heard
insults
more
is what we
gay
do here.
jokes than I did when I was in the military about each other. I want to welcome to the panel today, first time on Pop Culture Minefield, my good friend Pope Metallicus,
How's it going, guys?
who is a
Good to
fellow
be here.
veteran, U.S. Marine Corps veteran. What years were you in?
2008 to 2012.
All right.
Yeah.
Where were you deployed?
Afghanistan.
And you know what? I don't always ask that of my military veterans, but when I ask a Marine, I'm asking because I know you were deployed.
Because everybody did. Like I know of like almost nobody in my era that didn't do at least one.
Yeah, I know. My dad, back during Vietnam, my brother Steve got in trouble for drugs, and they were giving him that decision, jail time or military. And so he chose military. And then my dad instructed my mother before he left for work that morning. Now, whatever you do, honey, don't take him to the Marine Corps. 100% chance of going to Vietnam.
Yeah.
He's going. Army, he's got about a 70% chance of going to Vietnam. Don't take him there. U.S. Navy, he's got about a 50-50 chance of going at least around Vietnam. He says, you want to take him to the Air Force. He's got almost a 10% chance of being deployed there and a 90% chance of going somewhere else. You take him to the Air Force. He went to work, came home. How did it go? Oh, great. I signed him into the Marine Corps. my dad's like, why? And my mom goes, I really like their uniforms. No shit, real true story.
Oh, so it's like at least he knows who to blame for sending him to Vietnam.
Yeah. But I do want to say welcome to the show, buddy. And of course, joining us on the panel today, fellow veteran, a member of the, again, Audie Murphy's group. What's it called again?
Gary, let me square it away for you, okay? The name of the group is the Military Order of the Purple Heart. That's
Too
a
many words. It
service-
confuses me.
Veterans Service Organization for Combat Wounded. Audie Murphy was the guy that began the Hollywood chapter right after World War II.
Now, he
Of course,
was.
Audie Murphy was the most highly decorated American soldier of the Second World War, with every conceivable damn medal you could receive, including many, many, many foreign medals, especially French. Although I wouldn't talk much about those if it were me.
Freudier, yeah. I'll tell you another one who is a highly decorated soldier and is the highest decorated soldier of World War II from the Marine Corps, and that was Neville Brand.
Yep.
I thought
And
you
a
were
lot
going
of
to say
people don't-
John Basilone. Cool.
He was another one. That guy was that dude was a badass. Unfortunately, he went out in the weakest way possible, just hit by a random mortar. Just like that guy. Like
Well,
that,
I'll say it's
expect
better
him to go
than
down in a
Patton
blaze of
killed in
glory.
a car wreck.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. No, of course you had one of every Marine's favorite, Chesty Puller, with 5 Navy crosses.
Yeah, Chesty Puller, Dan Daly.
Yep.
Dan
One of
Daly
Marines.
made famous the line, "You want to live forever."
Yep.
That was
And,
Bella Wood,
Yeah.
World War One.
he had already won a Medal of Honor by then. He earned his first
because
one on the
he
Boxer
sat
Rebellion.
on that wall killing people in China during the Boxer Rebellion.
Killed held off 500 Chinese insurgents with a bolt-action rifle.
Yep.
By himself.
He was a tough dude.
That's badass.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to show you real quick. This is Neville Brand in his uniform. And you remember this guy, Don.
Oh,
Keith, both of you know this guy.
Oh, yeah.
He was, when I was a kid, I swore he was the Hulk because he looked like Jack Kirby's Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just about as tough as he looks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was. He was famous for playing in Westerns, but he was occasionally in war films. The last thing I remember him starring in was in the 70s, a little movie called Killdozer.
I remember that.
I love that movie. Do you guys remember that TV movie?
Yeah.
It was like The Car, but with a bulldozer taken over by an alien intelligence, starts wiping out people. I'm like, its top speed is 10 miles an hour. I think you can get away.
It's like that scene in Austin Powers with the steamroller.
Yeah, the steamroller.
Yeah.
And the Zamboni.
That guy
and
looked like
Deadpool.
he could chew rebar and spit bullets.
Yep, exactly. So once again, Don Ecker is here. And then Keith is here somewhere. He was floating somewhere in space. There he is, over the earth. Black guy in space. And of course, Fat Steven Seagal is here as our co-host. And then guarding the chat is our good friend Martin Acosta Santana.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Martin, are you looking for the guy with 6 fingers?
What?
Is that a new proctologist, Joe?
No, it's Princess Bride. Welcome to the show, guys. Oh, look, it's Judgy Keith. There's Keith judging you.
I just came back from Wakanda Forever. There's not enough judgment in the world.
Nobody has given it a good review this morning that I know.
Everybody.
Hey, Gary.
Did you hear what happened to 6?
No, what happened?
She
walked
left.
out.
Yeah, she walked out of that movie.
Wow.
Good for her.
I mean,
Good
it
on
got
her.
that bad. I mean,
Technically, I walked out of it, but that's only because the
Nobody in New York. There was a video last night. A lady going to see the movie at the prime time, around 7 o'clock, when everybody goes. No lines. The theater had 5 people in it.
Are you talking about Chrissy Meyer? That was at a 3 p.m. showing.
Yeah.
Let's just say this way. I would have walked out, but then I would have just left my bedroom.
okay.
Oh my God.
Gary?
Oh my God.
Gary?
I want to. Yeah, buddy.
Before we begin, you should show the disclaimer.
Yes. This is absolutely important. I need to show this.
Now we know why Martine is the right half of your brain.
Yep. It's true. First, I do want to show this one for Veterans Day. This goes out to all my Air Force buddies. Did you read it, Pope?
Oh, yeah. As much as I can read, you know.
As much as you can read. It's not in crayon. I'm sorry, buddy.
That's what he
I had to
usually
stretch-
writes
I
his
had to
names
stretch,
in.
but I got there.
I'm trying to find the disclaimer. Hold on, because I deleted it.
It begins with a D, then ISCLAIMER.
There it is. I found it.
There you go.
All right.
Smelling with Gary.
No, it's under M for your mama.
oh no!
Warning! The discussion in the following video is between military veterans and people who love the military. Some subjects discussed may be disturbing to others. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned!
Viewer discretion advised, just like his mama.
Hey, Dustin is here from Keto Simple. Let's see who all is here today. Let's get this start. Sox Bulletin was the first one here. Good to see you, buddy. Penny, Dork Knight's mom, is here. Hi, Penny. Happy Veterans Day. Anima Confusa, love of my life, and a great lover of at least one veteran.
Keith?
Yeah. Scott Lewis is here, my good friend. Gary, remember to show the military topics disclaimer. Thanks, Martin. Colonizer Jeebus is here. That's the Jeebus previously known as Monkey. We got Dragon Ruse, Bill Barkley from Scotland, James Ritter, Keto Simple, Dustin, and Wajid Leakey already in the chat. It's
Matt
good
Vader
to see you
just showed
guys.
up. Where?
Good to
Oh yeah.
Calm, you're excited.
Matt Vader.
Hey, Matt Vader's here. What's up, buddy? What up, Dix? Are you working or can you join us? Celebrate veterans today.
Hey, Zach's is in the chat,
Zach's
too.
is here too. Zach's
man?
hell to our
Preaching.
collective veterans, even backdoor Gary. Yep, that's right. So we broke
is
the
an
backdoor
army.
barrier. So yeah, I know. I know what's coming. Not to start that shit
Disappointment.
again.
Open your back door, baby. Loosen your hinges, I'll show you my key.
There you go.
Video.
So we begin Veterans Day today. Now, actually, John, did you talk about veterans today?
I just mentioned it. I didn't. It
In
was.
passing.
Well, I knew you were doing the show today, so I was talking about Ray Harryhausen this morning.
Yeah, Ray was something else, man. I do want to mention that we did have a loss today, a celebrity that we all love. In honor of him, I'm going to play this video before we say the name.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
We
There
lost
you go.
Michael Keaton too.
Oh, jeez.
We lost Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. That came about because of Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah.
And he's been the voice of Batman for many years.
25
He's looked
years, something
sickly
like
for
that.
the last 5 years, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I haven't seen what the cause of his death was, but I suspect he had health issues.
He did.
And it was so sweet what he did for Mikey, Mexican Iron Man,
Oh yeah.
for his birthday. That was really amazing this year. We lost Kevin.
Lost
Does
Gallagher.
anybody know any news on him?
Look who's in the chat.
Hey, what's he? Hey, pissed off prosecutor from Las Vegas. Yeah,
AKA Pop.
what is up, dude?
But no, I remember him in Batman the Animated Series when I was a kid, and he will always be the Batman to me.
Yep.
Yes.
He was the voice when it came to Arkham, that series as well.
Yep.
You're not going to find another. That's the thing, and they can't get a voice like that ever.
And those
Well, that-
and those shows were amazing too. Like you had Batman the Animated Series, Justice League, like,
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond. Yeah, they were just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
What was that one I really liked that was sent to the theaters?
Mask of the
Phantasm.
Phantasm.
Mask of the Phantasm. Wow, I love that movie.
That moves Dietrich Bader up the list.
Yeah, Dietrich Bader surprisingly was good, but
Yeah.
with Batman Brave and the
Brave
Bold.
and the Bold.
Yeah, good series.
Jason O'Hara is good too.
Yep.
Who's your least favorite Batman, guys?
Val
Least
Kilmer.
favorite?
George Clooney.
George Clooney's mine.
I gotta go with George on that one. Although I will say that Robert Pattinson actually did an
Okay.
okay job as Batman.
I forgot about
talking about?
Pattinson.
He
I
did
forgot
a fine
about
job,
Pattinson.
despite the fact that I still question his skills in that film. But
I would have to say Pattinson because he wasn't originally meant to be Batman.
yeah, he was
the-
forced upon the director.
Yeah, the director wanted what's his name from the X-Men films? He wanted
Hugh Jackman.
no.
Oh, Patrick Stewart.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my god.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, he wanted the young man that played Beast.
Oh, wait,
yeah.
I cannot believe
Kelsey Grammer?
Young man.
I'm
Young
listening. Gotham.
Oh, it's Fuck Around Friday. There,
You
I broke
fucking
the F
guys
theory.
are broke. You're broke.
Hey, bro. Thank you, Don.
Man.
Hello, Ford is back.
Ford is back is here. COD. Hey,
Ford
buddy.
is back.
Nah, 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 nah. Nah, nah, nah.
Back door.
Back door. Should I play one for him saying that?
Go ahead.
I should
Go
play
ahead.
one for him. This one is another fave.
Strong. I'm gonna go check the back door. Back door.
God, I missed that show.
That was a good series.
It's
the new
back.
series.
It's back
And-
on
and-
Amazon. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
guess what? It's classic type material. They
Yeah.
have gone back.
Yeah,
to
they
doing
did
it
not.
the right way.
They didn't Bezos it up, man.
They literally just make fun of TikTokers and YouTubers now instead of music videos.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough. There's
And by the way,
plenty to
in
go
honor
around.
of Keith being here,
You don't deserve your family. Who taught Chris to whisper black out of respect for blacks? Me.
Oh, there's also great news. Keith is now sponsored by Plax Photography.
yeah. Hey, what's your favorite banner in House of the Dragon? The blacks?
Wow. You guys.
Hey, I got one more for you, Keith. Made this just for you.
Everything went black. Everything went black. Everything went black.
Hey, what color did you paint the door?
Well, if it's a red one.
It's a red door.
Eggshell white.
Oh my God, if it's a red door, you know they're ghosts. I saw Sixth Sense. I know these things.
I mean, you see the red door and you want it painted black.
Brandon
Yeah.
is here.
Paramount
Alex
Plus,
Moore, pissed off prosecutor, which you already said hello to. Real Wade Nation, our good friend Wade. And of course, Zach's, I said hi to him. So everybody, welcome. Hope you guys are having a good Friday. And most of all, any of you guys that served, I hope you're having a good day, man. As I've said many a time, I'm pissed that it's not a national holiday that you get off. That's why since 1990, every job I've had, I called in sick on Veterans Day so I could have the day off.
I got lucky this
I'm
year.
working on my day
because since we're moving, I just left my job on Wednesdays because I knew yesterday was the Marine Corps birthday. I definitely wasn't going to work that day, and then
Simplify
today, where I'm here. So
yeah, and celebrating, of course, Veterans Day because this is a day to celebrate those of us who served. And just so you remember, Memorial Day is different. You don't need to be thanking every veteran, even though I understand it's something you consider courteous. Memorial Day is specifically designed to celebrate those who gave the greatest sacrifice to this nation by giving their life in combat.
Yeah.
So Memorial Day is for those men and women who have died in combat or combat-related injuries. So,
hey, we have in the chat our good friend, the Dork Knight.
Dork is here. Hey, Dork, what's up? Man, we got a lot of Las Vegas people on here today.
Before we
Peter
get too
Vick
far,
fan sites here. Arwen Avalon, hi, sweetheart. How are you doing? Who else? Oh, there it is. Lord Thoth. I thought I saw someone pop in. Lord Thoth is here. All hail Lord Thoth. And,
before we get into it, I've got to go. I know we just started, but
oh, thank God! I was getting so sick of you taking over the show.
Yeah, I know. Well, I got to go watch my nephew
do what?
March in the Veterans Day Parade. He's
awesome.
He's squad leader for his JROTC rifle group. So
yeah,
outstanding.
So I'm going to go do that. So
tell him I said hi, and
I will.
And great job, man. I mean, He looks so much older than when I saw him earlier this year.
Yeah, he's getting old quick. He's only 14. He looks like he's 30.
Yeah, he looks like he's 30.
Especially in that uniform.
Yeah, don't make that face, Gary. The kid looks like he was a 30-something.
So anyway, so thank you very much for your service, and thanks to all the veterans out there. This country wouldn't be here without you. So, and goodbye to everybody in the chat. Thank you very much.
I'll see you later, buddy.
See ya.
See you
Later,
John.
John. Later, buddy. Hey, Gary.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Michael Douglas playing John. That's Wolfen.
Hey, Gary, I got to tell you, that photo you put up on FB with you and your buddy in uniform.
Yeah, Andre.
You had what a baby face. I looked at that.
That's
I
why
said,
"Holy shit!" Yeah, I was
He's
almost
a baby.
I looked like I was a teenager until I was in my 40s. And it was really annoying because, like, I remember one night at a party, I wanted to hook up with this girl. She was hot. And I was there with my band. And I said, well, I got to leave early. Maybe I get your number or something. And she said, why you got to leave early? And I said, well, I got to go home, take care of my kid. Pick up my kid and take her home. And she's like, oh, you have a kid? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, starts throwing out all this advice to me about how to raise a kid. And I'm like, I raised 2 other kids. I'm already a pro at this. I know how to. You don't have 2 other kids. You're not old enough. And that's when I didn't want to sleep with her anymore because she nagged me about I was lying about my age. I then brought over the lead singer and the bassist for my band to tell her how old I was. Still didn't believe me. I got so angry I just left the party, and I just, man, I'm so sad that cock blocked me my age. But I was boyish for years, and it's weird, and that's why I grew facial hair because I got sick of being carded.
Suspiciously sounds like a wine to me, Gary.
A wine with cheese, my friend. Of course, that cheese is ripened wino dick cheese.
Oh my God.
Wow.
The smegmatic kind of cheese.
Oh my.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, somebody opened that door, and I'm not saying back door. And I can't break the back door because it's back door Gary. Anima, get Gary to shave. No, Jeebus, no, it's not happening, man. I had a girl once tell me, I feel creepy kissing you when you have no facial hair. And I'm like, thanks. Oh wait, Zach's asked the question. What was the question? Who did you piss off, LT? I got to tell you, I'm glad he's not been ganked about it yet, and I'm curious how it's going with that, because I'm starting to see other people following your trend, Zach's, posting videos from Band of Brothers. A lot of Band of Brothers videos this week from other people. I thought they were you. And they were like, I'm like, holy crap, someone's stealing from Zach's. But I hope you're still going. He's been showing a lot of clips from Band of Brothers. You need to get Pacific in there. Wait, what?
Look what the dork is saying.
About what? Oh
yeah,
rice and white big cheese
rant yesterday. Oh man,
Dork, I'm not sure what you're saying here, but I'm sure she's never had ripened wino dick cheese.
No,
cheese.
You're killing kids.
She's a lady. Matt Vader replaced John.
What's going on?
So now it's Kirk Douglas?
It's Veterans Day, and we're going to celebrate with some of my veteran buddies here.
I am not a veteran. They didn't like me. I have flat feet. So
you were telling me about that. All your buddies went, and you didn't get to go.
All my buddies went. I didn't get to go because I have.
You're a 4F.
Something unworthy, but thank you all, gentlemen, for your
service. It's a sad damn day when the U.S. Marine Corps rejects somebody.
Yeah, unworthy.
We actually reject a lot of people. It's we're the hardest branch to get into physically.
One of the guys I ran with in high school was drafted by the freaking Marine Corps. So don't ever tell me the fucking Marines don't draft.
Well, I got to tell you, man, I was hard to get into the Marine Corps. I know it's hard to get in the Marine Corps, but I was hard to get into it. I wanted to go Marines first, but when I found out that they don't have their own corpsmen, that those are Navy, and I went to the Navy recruiter, and he said I only had a 20% chance of being attached to a Marine unit.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You ready to sign up?" And I'm like, "Oh, no. I don't want to be in the Navy. No." That guy looked so dejected when I walked out. And I just kept walking out going, "Yeah, thanks. No.
The funniest part is watching guys who were FMF corpsmen, like the Greenside docs, having to go back to dealing with the regular Navy, and the looks on the people that they work with faces. It's like, oh my God, he was all nice when we gave him to you. Now he's just broken and angry all the time.
Broken and angry all the time. I know, right? It sounds like about every veteran who came back from deployment having to go back to deal with those that didn't get deployed.
Yeah.
And
Cam's here.
Hey, Dork is here. And who is that old? Is that Einstein?
No, that's Tom O'Connell, the pissed off.
I know who it is. I'm messing with you.
Oh, you're messing. Okay.
They can
Yeah.
see you. Okay.
Is that Albert Einstein? I thought he was dead.
I'm not that pissed off lately. I'm doing okay.
That's good, Tom. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, we're working on
and again,
it.
Tom was the federal prosecutor in Vegas for years. Tough guy. Went up against the mob.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to resituate myself. I just wanted to, so you could see he was here.
Oh, look at that baby face. He's got such a baby face.
I know Danny's facial hair changes every time I see him. It's weird.
I know.
So
hey, you can't blame a certain person anymore for shaving. So
well, this was Hail Mary. I shaved it a few days ago to try to
keep my hair
fresh. Maybe it'll grow in right this time, right? Is that
what is that?
Yeah.
But Cam is here. Hi, Cam.
So I can't stay long because I am working with Tom. But I just wanted to ask in person because I put it in the chat. And nobody's saying, did you guys see that epic rant from Iron Man, Mexican?
I did. Yeah, that was.
No, I haven't. I'll be watching it. I woke up 20 minutes before the show today because
I've watched it like 4 times. I've shown it to 3 different people. It is so funny. It puts me in tears. It's just
when Mike
you gotta
shit, it's fucking always great.
You
gotta put a link to it in the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
And let me watch it. So.
Okay. All right. I'll do that.
The movie sucks.
Thanks a lot, buddy. And thanks for dropping in and say hi to Tom again.
All right, I will, man. I'll
sure
drop the
you can
link
hear
in the I'll drop the link in the chat. But hey, hi and bye.
Ciao, buddy.
Hi and bye.
Ciao, bello. Ciao.
Oh, hey, Danny, I've got your buttons right here, buddy. He's been hounding me for his podcast buttons for 6 months now. I should probably go give them to him someday.
Why is Seth Rogen using Dork's account?
Vader, promise you sent them, but just keep sending to other addresses around you.
Yeah. Well, I keep telling him I'm just gonna drop him off at your house. It's like, no, I never do. I don't even remember where he lives.
Brandon, the anime guy, is here.
Why, hello there, Gary and Keith and everyone else. I want to say a happy Veterans Day to all those who served, and thank you very much. And I do want to give out a shout out to my, as far as I'm aware, my last remaining relative that has served that's still alive, and that would be my father. My biological father served in the Marines in the late 70s, and my adopted father served in the Air Force and was almost sent to Nam. Almost.
Wow.
Yeah. He, from what he told me, he used to work on a lot of the bombers that carried the big boy nukes, and there's still stuff to this day that he won't talk about or tell me about. But my great uncle Otto, who served in the Marine Corps and served over there and over in the Pacific, got shot up twice and was about ready to go for the invasion of Japan before we dropped it on him. And my other uncle that Uncle Frank that served in the Army and was there during D-Day.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
Fantastic, dude. That's awesome.
My grandfather that on my adopted dad's side, he was also in the Marines, and he was out, of course, prior to all that because of age and all that. But
hey,
yeah.
I wanted to point out that I found a picture of Brandon. This is really cool. This is back before he or after he started on the show Tim and the Mayor on Cartoon Network. There he is. You look a lot like Heidecker, dude.
I do
right now.
Oh, well, I've got my hair a little longer and got the beard off of me.
It looks
tried.
totally different. I was like, who the fuck's the clean-faced baby boy waiting behind?
Well, yeah, that's me. I'm if when I'm shaved and when I'm skinnier, I look way younger than I am. But ever since I started growing the hair, I can't do the beard. I had 14, 15 days on me, and it just got too itchy, and I'm like, screw it, cutting it.
I don't think I can cut mine.
Roger that.
I
well,
can't
thanks
do
for
it.
sharing, Brandon. I deeply appreciate it, man.
Yes, thank you, and thank you all. I actually do have to get back to work, so thank you, everybody.
See you later, my
great
friend.
Day, and take care.
Thanks for dropping in. See you Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see you Saturday.
See you, Brandon.
I don't think I've been clean shaven since I got out, pretty much.
The link for the rant is on the private chat.
Way cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
I'm almost tempted. Like, how long is the rant?
It's short. Well,
I've actually been wanting to see
8
it play.
minutes. 10 minutes.
I am going to go ahead and we're going to show it.
Oh, sweet.
Excellent.
Present. Share. Come on. There you go. Chrome tab. Mexican Iron Man. All right. Here we go. Is it showing? Yep, there it is. I'll put it down below. There we go. Up for that one. And make sure this is turned up all the way. There we go. Here we go, guys.
Right now, what I'm doing to all of you is that I am protecting you from seeing this piece of shit. Men, do not take your sons to this. Men, do not take your girlfriends or women to this piece of shit. Unless you want to be a beta-ass bitch. Ollie, I'm done.
Thank you, Mike. And yeah, my sentiments on the lack of male role models in this movie is just absolutely inexcusable. Absolutely inexcusable.
There you go.
Go to 50
Two of my favorite. 2 of my 3 favorite Latinos. Just kidding.
Gary?
Oh, Martin, I forgot you're Latino. 4.
No, man. Go back to the video and start on 5503.
5503.
This movie is bad. It is very bad.
It's like
redefining
what bad movie
It's
is.
only 10 minutes or 11 minutes long.
You played like 10 seconds of it.
Before he puts the rant on, picture Eternals, She-Hulk, and Love and Thunder all having a threesome.
Type that number in for me, Martin. I don't know what you're saying.
What about Batgirl?
No, we're not going to Batgirl. Those 3 movies had a threesome. They then had an ugly baby, and they didn't know where to put it.
Gary, use the link I put on the private chat.
That's the link I did, and it took me right to that point where it started.
Huh.
It's 616 seconds or whatever the fuck that is. I'm copying it, and that's right where it took me.
Oh, well, put it from the beginning then.
The beginning of the video?
Yeah.
What Gary? What they're saying is put the video up and then take the scroll bar and take it to 55 minutes and then go.
No.
It's only a 11-minute video.
Okay, put it from the beginning.
Oh,
all right.
Your boomer is showing.
No, I did exactly what it showed.
Oh my god!
Well, it's not an Etch-a-Sketch, so it's kind of hard.
The link he shared goes at the 616
Yeah, because
second mark.
I haven't noticed that it's time.
It's Venezuelan time. That's the problem.
I guess right now is a disservice. Then a disservice to comic book fans, a disservice to fans of cinema, a disservice to Mexicans, and a disservice to Mexican minority relations. And let me tell you this much, my white brothers, this was an insult to you.
Yep.
Oh boy, here we go.
Thank you, Wolverine626, for the $5 super chat. Yes, we were saying that earlier. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. You shall forever be the best Batman. And he really is considered by many to be the best Batman.
Myself included.
He's
Yeah.
my Batman.
I consider him my third favorite Batman because I liked Michael Keaton, and I can't help it. I grew up in the 60s and the 70s, so Adam West. Even though Adam West Batman is not canon, it's a silly comedy. We all, as kids, we didn't know that. But thank you, Wolverine. Thank you so much. Here's your video. What shall I play? Oh my God, there's so. Oh, favorite video I added from this last week's episode of UFO Wednesday.
Now this is the plan. Get your ass to Moss.
Did that play the whole thing?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Wow, I had a weird delay. All right, let's get back to this show. And hear Mexican Iron Man go off.
Brandon, thank you for the gifted membership.
And you know, guys, I've been tracking this film for 2 years as far as casting choices. You know, Tenoch Huerta getting the role. You know, all the things. So I can't give it a full recommendation based on what I'm gonna go over.
This is so dramatic.
Our producer, Mikey.
Okay, Mexican Iron Man is here. We're gonna bring him in, and you get the stage.
Well, first of all, I'm not even supposed to be online. I'm under doctor's orders not to be online at a desk touching a mouse or keyboard because I blew out my shoulder and my elbow. I have to be pretty fucking pissed off, fracking pissed off and annoyed to come online because I'm literally under doctor's orders not to live stream and to stay away from a desk, keyboard, and mouse. So I just drove home from the theater, which happens to be 5 minutes from my house. Paul, you know which one it is. That is the biggest sack of crap I have seen. Let me tell you things that I would rather have done. I would rather watch Kevin Smith Motu 3 times than see that again. I would rather watch Shang-Chi 4 times than see that piece of shit again. I would rather watch more episodes of Star Trek Discovery than see that piece of crap again. I would rather rewatch episodes of Picard seasons 1 or 2 than that piece of crap again. I'm not sure what else I would rather do. Oh, I know what I'd rather do. I'd rather watch The Last Jedi 1, 2, 3 times instead of seeing that piece of crap. What I just saw right now is a disservice to men, a disservice to comic book fans, a disservice to fans of cinema, a disservice to Mexicans, and a disservice to Mexican minority relations. And let me tell you this much, my white brothers, this was an insult to you. And maybe that's why I'm most pissed off right now. I am livid. I'm not even livid. You know what? Part of me was pissed off that I just wasted 3 hours of my life because I asked Six and Tom, should I go? And they were right. I needed to get out because I've been hunkered down. So I am glad that Six and Tom told me to go out and I did not go see this movie. And let me tell you why. I saw this movie for all of you. Anybody listening to my review, if you pay to go and see this movie, then let's go through what you're going to get. All right? I don't even need to spoil it just to tell you what you're going to get. Let me tell you who this movie is not made for. It's not made for white guys, unless you want to see yourself cooked and arrested by your bitch ex-wife. It's not made for Mexicans, at least not if you want to have any pride. It's sure as hell not meant for fathers, because there's absolutely no redeeming qualities here from a father's perspective. It sure as hell better not be made for little boys, because if you hope your boy to become a man, this is not the hero movie for you. It sure is not about families, because the basic undercurrent theme of this thing is vengeance. This is not a movie about love. This is not a movie about heroism. This is a poorly written sack of shit movie that went for the 2 hours and 45 minutes I sat in there. this story could have been told in an hour and 4 minutes flat. And even then probably would have been too long.
Mhm.
I'm insulted as a Mexican. And by the way, Paulie, we weren't even Mexican in this thing. We were blue. Here's the good news. Anybody, guess what? If you see this movie, you're already going to see blue people because my people aren't even brown. They're blue. Spoiler alert. So anybody that wants to see Avatar, guess what? You don't have to go see Avatar. You can see this one and see all the fucking blue people you want. There are so many pieces of crap in this. How do they talk underwater? Don't know. Don't know. How does a 5'2" little chick beat up a guy that's like easily outweighs her by 2 to 3x? Don't know. Don't know. This movie drags. It's got shitty plot points. Oh, I know who it's for. If you like bald black chicks, this movie's for you. If you're a beta ass bitch loser, probably, and I'm going to say this, I was raised by a single mother, but my single mother told me from an early age that she was going to do her best to make sure that I learned how to grow up to be a man, and she surrounded me with male role models. So if you're a beta ass bitch, this movie is probably for you. If you're a female that's delusional, that thinks that, you can do all kinds of amazing things and you're equal to the strength and power and leadership of a man, this movie's for you. And if you're a cuck-cater ass bitch like Kevin Feige, this movie's for you. Kevin Feige, you know what? Here's some news flash. I'm not even a Marvel guy. I'm a DC guy. I didn't grow up with the Marvel universe. I grew up with the DC universe. All right? So, but I've been watching your movies all along, plodding along, and yeah, I'm Mexican Iron Man. Why? Because Iron Man and Doctor Strange are probably the only two Marvel characters I've ever really given a shit about, frankly. You blew that movie more recently, and you did good with Iron Man, which was my only other character I liked. But let me tell you, that little Riri bitch with putting on a fake iron suit was the biggest crack of shit joke I've ever seen. My God, let me tell you this.
Pause it.
My 9-year-old, let me tell you, Andy Masterson, I commissioned.
There's a quick thing that has to be added to this. Not only did they take two of the best scenes out of the first Iron Man film and make redo them, they pretty much
redo them. What?
They recrapped it. Okay. The slamming on the metal when he's making the armor and you're seeing the hammer and the sparks and he's cutting out the symbol. Yeah, she did that exactly the same, except it was the shape of a heart. And her arc reactor is in the shape of a heart because this is setting up the Disney Plus series. Not only that, she literally says in it, because I have a clip of it going, from a 20-year-old mentality, ungifted black woman. No joke.
Oh, no.
Mike isn't wrong in any of this.
And
This
just the
film is
fact that they put Ironheart in anything makes me want to go on one of these fucking rants because Iron Man is my favorite Marvel character of all time. My favorite
There is a
superhero of
point,
all time, and that fucking makes me. Oh,
there is a point where she gets javelined or whatever, right, and slammed to the ground from the water, and it's so unbelievable that this Mike's right. Nobody unless you actually want to see this for your own definition, this movie is pretty much the checklist mafia of You Are No Good. This is the Birds of Prey of Marvel. That's the way I can say that. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to catch that, but Mike's right. It's that bad.
Man, continue.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
And Andy Masterson to build a Mexican Iron Man custom action figure. There's one in my house. There's one at Doomcock's house in Texas, and there's one in California that's owned by Robert Meyer Burnett. There's 3 on the planet. My kid had made a video where he's playing with his Mexican Iron Man action figure, and it's way better than that piece of crap that I just saw. Give me a break. Men are insulted at every turn. There is a war on men. There is a war on boys in this country, and I'm sick of it. And maybe I'm a little sensitive because I'm an alpha male and I'm not a beta-ass bitch. Maybe it's because I'm a father. Maybe it's because I spend too much time on too many live streams trying to represent the fans. But let me tell you this. I am sick and tired of my white brothers and sisters made to look like assholes and cucks and bitches. I probably can take it as a Latino, but I sure as hell can't take it. And I am sick of it. There's one white dude in this movie. Just one. And in the end, he's arrested by his fucking ex-wife, who happens to be his boss, and she puts handcuffs on him and walks him out. And by the way, she's a blue-haired Karen. Spoiler fucking alert. Spoiler fucking alert. The
She
white
also-
guy has a blue-haired Karen of an ex, and she arrested with a handcuff. What the fuck? Every guy in this movie either loses to someone lesser of him, or is made to be shameful, get down on a knee, or get his ass kicked, or is humiliated. And guess what? Here's a newsflash, because I've been dating smoking out chicks now going on 3 decades. The top line women don't want a piece of shit beta ass male. They want a man with leadership. They want what's called an alpha male, a high value man, a man of leadership, a man of strength, a man who makes money and isn't a piece of shit. So this storyline of like strong women and all this. By the way, I gave up, but I think there are men in this movie probably for a grand total of 10 to 20 minutes out of 2 hours and 47 minutes for a superhero film. And no, I'm not sexist, and no, I'm not misogynist. I love women. I know how to respect women, and I know how to treat women well, like princess and queens when they deserve to be, and ignored when they treat me like shit and deserve to be. If you go spend your money to go see this movie, know that you're walking into where society is today. And where is that? That is a place where a company like Disney bought a company called Marvel, took over all of your comic books that once inspired you, that once made you want to be a leader. On those tough days where maybe you got beat up by a bully, a kid, you found heroism in those comic books, and you went back to school and fought to live and study and go on another day. Well, America has now been taken over by these woke assholes, and they just spent $200 million, and they're hoping that your dumb beta ass, cuck ass bitches are going to go and support their fucking piece of shit narrative. And if you're one of the reviewers that gave this a high review, fuck you and your sellout cuck ass Hollywood bitch. I hope you enjoy your little gift packages. I hope you enjoy your little free passes to see your little opening shows and enjoy your red carpet. And to the stars that were in this, fuck you for making my people or trying to make my people look like shit. And here's the news flash, and I'm done in 30 seconds, Paul. The name Canul, which is my indigenous name, Canul, comes from southern Mexico, comes from the Yucatan Peninsula. And if you look up the history of my name, it's an old Mayan term from Yucatan Peninsula that means he that protects. So maybe I'm a little bit sensitive because I like to see myself as a guy that likes to protect others. And right now, what I'm doing, all of you, is that I am protecting you from seeing this piece of shit. Men, do not take your sons to this. Men, do not take your girlfriends or women to this piece of shit unless you want to sit there and be a beta ass bitch. Paulie, I'm done.
Thank you, Mike. And yeah, my sentiments on the lack of male role models in this movie is just absolutely inexcusable. It's absolutely inexcusable.
I think we need to check on him and make sure he didn't have a stroke.
I think so.
Namor,
that is the sound of a man who has
literally got his wings clipped.
You got
Color me confused, but I don't think Mike liked that.
This is bad.
I don't think he was a fan. No.
I think that's Mike finally getting out the aggression that,
and the fact that Shuri is
comic
not a
book
warrior,
from Marvel are done.
And that she got.
I got to tell you, I suspect that was a lot of built-up rage over me.
You need to call him up, Gary, and see if he's okay.
I am going to call him after the show.
There you go.
Should I call him now during the show?
Yeah, get him on live. He'll go on another rant.
I have a clip from the film if you actually want it.
You got a clip from what?
The Wakanda Forever.
Oh man, I swear to God, if it's one of your prank videos,
It's not. It's not. It's not.
I don't feel like being rickrolled by you today.
Gary.
CIA, I made that for my metallurgy class. School project. Yeah. Professor said I'd never be able to do it. To be young, gifted, and black, though, right?
Yep.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, this sounds like a shitty film all around, which I predicted.
It is. It's.
We all knew it was going to be bad, but the question is just how bad.
G.I. Joe is better than this, okay?
Wow. I'm starting to suspect that Avatar 2 might just make a little more money than this film.
No, it won't. It's going to make those blue people look bad.
I've been kind of wondering when they were going to finally pull the full trigger on the whole MCU woke Marvel stuff.
Wow.
It looks like we're there. It's there. It's done. So
see, Worst part is with this film that they didn't give us any output. We all know.
Mikey, we are live right now, and we just watched your entire rant on the show.
Bravo, sir.
Yeah, we're live right now. I've got you on the phone up to the microphone so everybody can hear you. Everybody fucking loved what you said.
Wow, thanks. I got to tell you that they got Andre and Tom. I went on Midnight Six for an hour this morning because even though I'm not supposed to be live streaming because I hurt my shoulder, so I'm not supposed to be at a desk, computer, or mouse till I get the shoulder to normal. But I got some good news, and they said I could do like a couple hours a day. But if Andre and Tom hadn't let me go on, I was so pissed this morning. I gotta be honest with you. Last night to go to bed, I never drink before I go to sleep, usually, unless I go out. Last night I had to have like a triple shot of scotch because I was so wound up. I was so angry and disappointed because at this point, Gary, you're pop culture mindful. At this point, I'm done doing mental masturbation with these assholes. They do be dod, the da be dod, and instead, if they do it, it would have been better. I'm not doing that. We think about this stuff more than they do, number one. Number two, I'm not even going to be like, well, I didn't like that. No. I'm sick of it right now. This movie right here is designed to normalize everything that has been bad about the last 8 years of pop culture.
Yeah.
You're being applauded right now by Keith.
Yeah. Gary, can you pass on a quick question?
Love you, Keith. And the thing is about you guys is you guys are more Marvel guys. Aren't you guys more Marvel guys than DC guys? Because I'm a DC guy.
I'm a DC guy. So is Keith.
Oh, okay.
I'm more of a Marvel guy.
So you know what I hope? I hope DC comes in and starts kicking some serious ass.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I want to see some good characters. I want to see some good stories, and I want this country to be inspired. Like when we were all little boys and girls, because it's not just boys. It's when we were all little boys and girls reading these comic books and reading these stories, and it inspired us to get up and go back to school, start the next day, get over being lectured by mom or dad, get over a fight with a brother, sister, or a bully at school. These stories inspired us, and I'm tired of not being inspired. And let me tell you the thing that made me happiest this morning. This morning, I sent a text to my 9-year-old. I said, Max, because Max doesn't live here. He lives in Connecticut. And a lot of times, his grandparents or my ex will take him to the movies. I said, Max, Daddy saw Wakanda. Don't go see it. Here's his response is like, thanks for letting me know. I won't go see. I won't ask for anyone to take me.
Oh man, good. Thank you.
I'm putting into practice what I preach. I'm practicing what I preach.
Amen, brother. Amen. Look, I hope you get well soon, Mikey. I just tagged you on Twitter because I shared that rant of yours. I tagged you and Paulie and Tom. Great fucking rant, dude. You really nailed it. I was worried that you were going to have a stroke while you were doing it.
A little bit. Thank you. Well, it's all good.
I love you, brother.
I love you. I love Keith. I love everybody on the show, everybody in the chat and the channel. Love you all.
All right. Take care, Mikey. I'll talk to you later. And please get well soon.
Thank you.
Oh,
sir.
wait.
Bye.
Steven has a question.
Is he there?
You there, Mikey?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
All
Come
right,
on, Steven, tell me.
All right, Mikey, how did you feel when they ripped off Iron Man 1 to reap him?
How do you feel when they ripped off Iron Man 1
to replace him with Riri?
That was such weak ass crap. It was ridiculous. But let me tell you what insulted and what pissed me off as much as that. He was on point. And also what pissed me off equally as much is when she's walking on the campus and you meet her for the first time, and the first thing she does is the smart kid from Harvard or MIT or wherever, MIT, walks up and thanks her for helping her cheat on his exam. So basically a white man needs a young black chick in order to, get a good grade. I mean, seriously, you need to do that in the opening salvo when we meet her, you weak-ass, bitch-ass mother effers.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Mikey, I predicted this movie was going to be bad, and you just cinched it for everybody. Thanks again for answering the phone call. Get well soon, because we need to have a meeting, because we go on KGRA next Wednesday with Dangerous Military Nerds.
That's fantastic. I'm a huge KGRA listener. I've been listening to them all the time for like ages, so I'm proud of you. I'll give you a call Sunday, okay? All
right, buddy. Take care of yourself. I love you, man.
Love y'all. Bye.
Bye. So that was Mikey. I have the weirdest shit in my phone. I've got Sean Young who sends me little private messages every once in a while. I've got like all these, like I've had a weird life. I'm nobody. I'm really a nobody, but I know all these people. It's weird.
There's worse things in this movie too. If you didn't get this, they actually tried to pay off what was it, Latinos or the Spanish, whatever, right, or Aztec Mayans, but they played them off as Hispanics just to click that check mark.
Well, it's that whole stupid Latinx thing, which is insulting to Latinos.
That's right, because I usually jump around in my Latinx wing and I take off to the stars every night.
Latinx wing.
Yes, it's a new thing you can sponsor by Hasbro. It's the Latinx wing.
I'm already seeing it in my head. You've already put it in my head. The Latinx wing.
Hey, Gary, let me bust in here really quick because I gotta
buddy,
get ready to go to work. Thanks for letting me come on and nod my head
buddy.
in appreciation for Mexican Iron Man and the most epic rant I've heard in years.
A long time.
Years. It's been years since. I mean, rants don't usually go viral. This is going viral. I think I might even talk about that rant tomorrow on our show.
Do it, dude.
But,
do it.
Before I get out of here, I do want to say I am now convinced I'm not going to go spend a dime on this movie. I'll probably watch it when it comes out on streaming. And one more time, thank you all for your service on this Veterans Day.
You bet, buddy. It's good seeing you.
And I got to get going. I got to go punch the clock for the man.
And remember, you got to save a spot on that hat for our button.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going to have to make my own version. I can make my own button with your guys' logo if I really want.
Oh, do it, dude. Hell, if you want to do it, we'll pay you for them.
Oh no, it's manual labor. I guess like one button at a
manual
time.
labor, one button.
It's like fuck that. Yeah. So yeah. All right, guys. So have a good one. I'm out. See you
later. Have a great weekend, man.
Okay. Peace out.
Watch
good
out for
seeing you,
hookers.
Matt. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Vader, a good friend of mine and this show. Glad to have seen him. Shanatsky's here.
I'm upset though.
Gary.
I see you. Anybody who knows what that's from, Red Shirt knows what that's from. That is from The Prisoner back in the 60s. Be seeing you.
I am.
But let's get to the list. Now I made a list. Don, Keith, did you guys make a list?
I have my 3. I didn't make any more than 3. I put 3 on it.
That's the best you could do, Keith.
These are the ones that I like, dude.
Don, did you get to make a list, or were you too busy?
I didn't know I was supposed to.
Oh, I thought I said that to you last week. Maybe I didn't.
No.
I'm sorry. If I didn't, I apologize. Either way it goes, I'm going to go through a list.
I'll give you a couple real quick.
Yep. And this is movies. This is war movies.
Alien Outpost.
Yes. I've got that on my list.
The Objective.
That is not on there, but I'm going to add that. Objective.
Siege of Firebase Gloria.
I've got that on my list. That's a good film. Arlie Ermy is in that, as is that gigantic-headed dude, Wings Hauser. That dude's got like a baby-sized head on a human body. It's just really weird. His son's a great actor, though.
Yeah, and that's just the top of my head.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about some of these films. One of the top films in my list is a little independent war film that tells the story of a German. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure if he was German, but he was a boy that grew up, born during World War II, grew up, and his personal story was that he was in his house and he looked up and he saw through the window a fighter coming in firing, and it was like coming right at him, and he survived it. And he was just so in awe of that guy because he could see the guy in the plane as he was coming in. And all he could think is, I want to do that when I grow up. Mm-hmm. And there's a fantastic documentary called, I think his name was Dietrich Dinger, The Real Guy. And the name of the film was Wants to Fly. His name, Wants to Fly. And the director, one of my favorite German directors, went so far as to make that documentary. And I don't know if you guys know who Werner Herzog is, but Werner Herzog is one of my top 10 favorite directors of all time. He does voices occasionally on Rick and Morty. He's got one of those interesting German accents. Anima doesn't think much of it, but that's because he's German and not Viennese. But he did a hell of a job directing that film. And I got to double check what the character's name is. Dieter Dingler was his name. And the documentary is called Dieter Dingler Wants to Fly. Check that documentary out. It's a true story. It has the real guy in it. And then he went around and made a movie with Christian Bale and, what is his name? My God, I love the guy. Steve Zahn is in it, plays his best friend. Now, the thing that's interesting about Dieter is the fact that he is the first U.S. American member of the military to be captured in Vietnam, shot down and captured. He was shot down on his first flight over Vietnam. Captured, but he's also, to date, the only American to successfully escape Vietnamese prisoner camp. And nobody else did. His buddy escaped with him, but he died. He was hacked to death by machetes by villagers that they ran into. And Dieter survived that incident, eating snakes, slugs, insects, drinking tepid bad water, non-running water. So he was infested with parasites. And it's one of the best films I've seen in a long time about war that really doesn't have much combat in it. It's more about survival. And if you've never seen this film, it's a must-see. It's called Rescue Dawn. Rescue Dawn is the code word that he had to give when they go to rescue him. That was his, I don't know, it's not a call sign. What is that called? Navy aviators have them. If you're caught behind enemy lines by Americans, you have to have that passcode.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his passcode, is Rescue Dawn. And it's just kind of ironic that he was rescued at dawn.
Gentlemen, can you please provide me with your respective list so I can show them in the chat?
Yeah. This is
Thank
my
you.
list. My list of these films also includes Dawn's. Keith, what are yours? And I'll just go ahead and add them here. Oh, great. He's muted. Awesome. Good job.
Keith
I like
overwhelmed.
All right, I went ahead and linked from my list.
Keith only has
you
one.
already added it?
Keith only has one title on his list, and it's Black Hawk Down. Get it?
Black Hawk Down. Yes, I got it.
Black Hawk
Down. I got them to say black for the blacks.
Although it's not a war movie or series, he does like Black Lightning.
I like to
And Soul Assassin? Yes, I did. You better believe I did.
Here's my list. Boy, I hate doing this because they're in order. And whenever I post these, they have a tendency of, so I'm going to do it while I'm doing it. So Rescue Dawn is the first on my list. Next is a little film called Rules of Engagement with Tommy Lee Jones, Sam Jackson, and what is that Australian guy's name?
Mel Gibson?
Here we go. Hold on. No, it's Guy Pearce. Are your three main characters? And Ben Kingsley is also an ambassador in the film. So he's in the U.S. Embassy that's overrun in the Middle East. And the Marines are sent in to oversee it. And, of course, the main characters, Tommy Lee Jones and Sam Jackson, are guys that survived an ambush in Vietnam because Sam Jackson's unit just happened to move in when Tommy's was getting chopped up in the swamps. and Sam Jackson saves Tommy's life personally. And he does something that you aren't really quite aware of what he did. And what he did was he asked for, where are your men? Tell them to cease fire. And the first guy refuses and he shoots him. Sam Jackson's character puts a bolt in his brain. 45, by the way, Don. 45. And turns to the commanding officer and tells him, you do it or I'm going to shoot you right now. And so he calls him to cease fire. And which, of course, would be considered by many armchair warriors to be conduct unbecoming. To execute somebody, in the field and then threaten to execute another person. It's a form of torture, and so it goes against the Geneva Convention. But he was improvising. He does what every Army and Marine soldier ever does, which is, Don, you want to say it?
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Amen. And
look at the private chat. Chinatsky has something for you.
Oh, that's interesting.
The truly scary things happen when Marines start getting inventive.
I told you one of the funniest, meanest things I ever said to a Marine was, I said the thing, I said, well, sometimes you got to circle the wagons. I'm sorry, guys, there's some Marines here. They don't know what I'm talking about. They know wedge. they know insertion. They don't know what a circle the wagons means.
Nope. We don't do this whole defense bullshit. I'm gonna
it's like
kick you in the nuts personally.
Yep. And but anyway, Rules of Engagement is a top-notch film. It's a legal drama as well as being about combat, because we get to see the combat. And of course, I'm so proud that Dale Dye is in the movie, and he was the military technical advisor for the film. So you guarantee the military aspect of this show is very accurate. I love that film so much. Now, Rules of Engagement, top-notch film. Tommy Lee Jones, one of his best performances, defending Samuel L. Jackson. Guy Pearce as the Marine prosecutor for the JAG. He's a JAG officer, or as we call them, JAG-offs.
The guys no one wanted to talk to.
Nobody wanted to know. Nobody likes them.
Them and MPs, man. Sorry, Joe, but
yeah, love you, Joe. But yeah, military pricks is what we called them.
So the guys we run away as soon as they show up.
Yeah, it's like there was a description. We broke out of our barracks during basic, rappelled out of a third-story window. But not me. I was helping. And I'm the one who gave them the big military laundry bags to go to the candy machine. A permanent party was right across the street. And they had a breezeway that had soda and candy machines. So everybody gave them money, go fill these up. So 3 guys went. They rappelled out of the building, went over there, were doing it. And all of a sudden they got hit by floodlights from Humvees, MP Humvees, and they scattered like cockroaches. Boom! Left all the goods.
I've been part of 1 or 2 of those raids myself.
Yeah, it's fun.
When we were coming back from Afghan, we had a stopover in, I think, Kuwait.
Yeah.
And there was a supply depot over there for the local PX, and they had a bunch of beer lying around. So like me and like 3 other guys hopped the fence and just started chucking cases of beer over to the others. And then just
And with this situation, what ended up happening, everyone involved, including myself, got pulled before it was our hold on, let me think. Yeah, it was our commanding officer. We got pulled in front of him, and he says, it sounds like you guys had a military operation going. I said, yeah, we had it all planned out. We didn't expect the MPs, and we just lost a weekend pass over it. He says, you did a military operation. That's what we're training you for.
No,
don't do it again.
You about is that you got caught.
Yeah. So it was funny. But Rules of Engagement is absolutely a fantastic film. One of my top favorite military films of all time. And like I said, it's got combat in it, but it's also a legal drama. It's got a lot of courtroom scenes, a lot of emotions. And then I want to move to the top film of the year this year. Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, hell yes.
It is singularly the best Star Wars film since Empire Strikes Back.
You're not wrong.
That third act is nothing more than the Death Star assault. They did that on purpose because that clicks in our brain when we're watching it, those who love Star Wars, and it causes that exhilaration of Star Wars love. And it's a great film. A lot of tactical stuff was wrong in it, but it's based on real tactics. One thing that I do know, no fighter will go under a bridge. They don't do that. They do not do that because of when you're under a bridge, you've got captured air, and you got to be careful when you're flying not to hit pockets of air like that. It can you crash from it. It's what brought down, oddly, the Black Hawk in when Operation Neptune Spear was. They hit a pocket of air, and it was flat. There was no wind, and it just dropped suddenly. They lost all their vertical support. So, but Maverick is really just a fun film. Tom Cruise, that crazy motherfucker. We're going to get a report one day he died doing a stunt.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to happen. I always predicted that would happen with Jackie Chan, but he got smart and started not always doing his own stunt. Shinatsky?
I think that he's too crazy to die from doing a stunt.
He's too crazy. Crazy people don't die. They kill other people.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, you'll find out he got like everyone killed but him if anything ever happens.
That's only if he's on set with Alec Baldwin.
What, you think he's going to Alec Baldwin his co-stars?
Just said that.
I got to tell you, once again, because I showed Anima yesterday, the training that Keanu Reeves and even Halle Berry went through for the John Wick film. I said, when you go onto a film, you are trained on a weapon that you're going to be carrying. You're actually trained how to handle that weapon. Alec Baldwin has no excuse for what he did.
No, he didn't.
It may be involuntary manslaughter, but it's involuntary manslaughter. It's manslaughter. He killed somebody. He pointed a gun when you're not supposed to do that ever at somebody. And he had his finger in the trigger housing. Absolute no-no.
Managed to break 3 of the safety rules all at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's what. And
then he tried to say that he didn't pull the trigger. And it's like, look, man, that pistol, in order to fire it, you have to pull the hammer back and then squeeze the trigger. It can't be accidentally fired. So anyway, moving forward to Firebase Gloria, which is an interesting film in that it's really a build-up to an overrunning of an American fire base by the North Vietnamese. And it's one of Don's favorite films. It's got Arlie Ermey in it.
Well, it's because we got overrun.
So you have that connection with it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's where, the enemy crosses the wire and it's danger close. That led to another scene in Platoon too, which is on my list. Because Dale Dye delivers the single greatest line in the movie Platoon. What a lovely fucking war.
Yeah.
And after calling it a danger close fire mission on his position. Or actually it was air support. So Firebase Glory is a good film. It's got Wings Hauser, Arlie Ermey. Arlie Ermey plays General, what is his name? I forget his name. And he doesn't like it when people point out his rank.
He's a command sergeant major in that film.
I thought he was a general because he gets called general. Oh, it's because he's a command sergeant general.
He got called general by that smart-ass Army aviator.
Yeah.
Bringing up, because Ermey told him to shave the next time he saw him. Yes, sir, General. So,
and don't call me General. Let's see. The next film on my list. Do you have anything else that you want to add to that, though, Don?
The next movie is
no about Firebase Glory. Anything else you want to add about that film?
Oh, no, it was fairly accurate. I mean, when you got Hollywood, you always got Hollywood. And your best hope are your military advisors and veterans, if you got any. And of course, Army was a veteran. So
I wonder, was he also serving as the technical advisor for the film?
I'm not sure about that. I'm sure he did, but I'm not sure. He served in Vietnam for a tour, or a short tour anyway. But I don't know. I don't know if he saw any combat there. I never heard about that.
Yeah, Daryl, take care of yourself, my friend. Thanks for dropping in, buddy. We have a good showing today. We got over 27 in the chat watching right now. We'll end up with close to probably about 150 to 200 views for this episode, and I'm glad, because this is Veterans Day. And once again, warning, this discussion in the following video is between military veterans. Some subjects discussed may be disturbing to others. Viewer discretion is advised. If you don't like it, fuck off. Right? I don't like veteran talk. Go away. There's a lot of snowflakes out there that don't like vets when they talk veteran stuff. Yeah, oh, fuck. Racist. You're racist because you said gook and zipperhead. I'm like, well, those are the terms of the time.
We're allowed to be racist to the people who tried to kill us.
Yeah. And my personal opinion is I don't like using the GOOK word because I'm not a Vietnam veteran. I just said it for reference. I don't like using it because I'm not a Vietnam veteran. But I did serve during the first Gulf War, and we like the word Hodge or Haji.
Mm-hmm. Well, we actually, in Vietnam, a lot of guys used the terms zipperhead,
ziphead,
dink, and the little people.
I've heard that one too. I think my brother was one that said that once when he was talking about something. Don't be candy ass. Exactly, Soul Assassin. Exactly. Now, going on with our list, we now move to... actually, what was another one of your films, Don? Let's go with one of yours.
The Objective.
Yes, The Objective is on my list.
Did you see it?
Yes, I've seen it a couple times. Okay. I saw it when it first came out. And critics hated it. But the critics hated it because it was from a military perspective. And it's by the same guy that brought us Blair Witch Project.
Right.
And it's a sci-fi military film. And you go ahead and fill us in, Don. You go ahead and
well, basically, it actually leads from the premise that could be very, very accurate. American spy satellites detected in the mountains of Afghanistan what they thought might be nuclear material. So they task a CIA agent who was chauffeured in to Afghanistan. He was met up and enlisted a special forces team to go up and check this out. But it was under the auspices, they were actually looking for a cleric that this CIA dink had known during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. He supposedly had served over there during the Russian invasion. And it takes off from there. Now, it's a very spooky film. And I'll tell you what, the first time I saw it, now, of course, I never served in the sandbox, okay? But I was involved in military intelligence activities in the field in Vietnam. So a lot of that crap rang true to me, the way this was presented. And the ending of the film gets really wonky. But the fact of the matter is, it had me on a thrill ride damn near the whole way through that movie. I don't want to say too much in case you haven't seen it. But I would strongly recommend to try to track down a copy of that and watch the film. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot myself. And it is one that I would recommend as well. And there's another one that you and I like together that you brought up, which is called Alien Outpost.
Yes.
And that story is basically, let me try to remember. It's like we've already been at war. Yeah, it's like 2033. We've already been at war with this alien race, and they're showing back. Yeah, they invaded, and a special forces unit is sent out, and a documentary crew for some reason is sent along with them to record what happens.
Well,
and the film is shot from the documentarian way of directing.
Yeah, the premise of the movie is that the human race, after getting their shit together, finally managed to drive the bulk of these invaders off planet. Okay. And they were advanced, of course, but still they weren't so far advanced that we couldn't kick the shit out of them, which we did. And then, but there was a residual number of alien soldiers that were left behind. So around the planet, okay, there were a number of outposts set up, manned by basically UN forces that were to guard against these guys coming back in. Oh, what the hell?
I'm showing some of the images from it right now.
Right. And these aliens are some pretty physically huge guys that are in some very advanced armor. Okay. So even one or two of these soldiers are a force to be reckoned with. Well, over a period of time, basically these outposts, they stopped funding them. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it does.
They stopped funding them. And OP-37, where this story takes place, is one of the last that's situated between Pakistan and Afghanistan. They've been there 10 years, or the outpost has, and now the local indigenous population, who are all Islamic, are getting sick to death of these foreign soldiers there. But unbeknownst to them, the aliens have been infiltrating with these indigenous personnel, taking them over, utilizing a type of mind control with the idea of overrunning this post, because they have a plan to break through this satellite shield that's been put up around the globe, so they can not only reinforce the troops that are still here, but to bring more down.
Man, that sounds good. I got to go watch that again, because I remember I saw it when it came out. Just a solid film.
And the guys portraying the troops, I believed every freaking one of them.
Yeah,
they had that down pat.
It's the way they interact with each other. It's physically, not just verbally. The physical interaction showed that unity that you see in an actual military unit, and also nothing I love more than grab ass humor, because soldiers, we're some grab astics motherfuckers. And grab ass humor is the core of your infantry unit. It is absolutely grabastic. It starts with our drill sergeants in basic training, and it follows, because their humor is very grabastic if you really think about it, the way they fuck with us when we're in training. But my next one is We Were Soldiers, which I really do like that film. I really do, but I have so many problems with it. It really needed a better military advisor, in my opinion, because the film relied too much on the Custer's last stand, so they made it look like a Western or Custer's battle than looking like a modern combat scenes. And that bugged me a little bit because it's not the same. The way you fight in a situation like that is different than the way that Custer fought. But they wanted that connection with the 7th Cav, because this was the first use of helicopters in Vietnam. and they wanted to show
pretty much anywhere. Really.
Cav. Air Cav, man, all the way. They went from riding horses to choppers, man. And it is a badass film. Don't get me wrong. I think Mel Gibson did a great job in the film. And I can't remember, did he direct it or did the other dude direct it?
I think Mel
yeah, it was Wallace. Wallace, who he worked with to do the Scottish film.
Now, one thing about that, Gary, this took place, the story took place in November of 65.
Right.
All right. By that time, Robert McNamara, that piece of fucking dog shit, okay, had basically...
I don't think I really understand. Tell me how you really feel about Robert McNamara.
That piece of fucking dog shit, okay, had made a decision coming from civilian corporations that everybody's going to have everything the same. You like those shoes? Good, because everybody's going to wear them. You like those uniforms? Good, everybody's going to wear them. Oh, we got a new black rifle. Everybody's going to use it. Turn in your M14s. Well, the fact of the matter was, those initial rifles, they had a lot of problems with the M16 early on for a number of reasons. Number one, they didn't think to initially chrome the bore, okay, of the rifle, which would jam up.
With it.
Number two, they used the wrong powder. They had made millions and millions of pounds of propellant for the M14 rifle, which was basically an improved M1 Garand. The M14 was a 7.62 by 51 millimeter cartridge, 30 caliber, which meant they had big chunks of gunpowder in there. They tried using that in the M16, which basically gummed up the works. And they initially sold the M16 as a self-cleaning rifle, if you can freaking believe that. And the Marine Corps, believe me, they found out the hard way about that. Guys were literally writing home, begging their parents or somebody to send them over 357 Magnums, 9 millimeters, whatever they could get their hands on, pistols, because they couldn't depend on their rifle. This even made it to congressional hearings for anybody that was paying attention at the time.
Yeah, and the original M16 was partially produced by Mattel. It had a lot of plastic parts, which is why it was called the Mattel 16.
Right.
And
Matty Mattel 16.
And one of the biggest problems with the M16 was the breech override and the failure to eject. And that's why we got the M16A1, which added the
but my point was
forward assist.
My point was they were having a lot of problems with that rifle, and they did not talk about that. As a matter of fact, I knew guys who went out and tracked down Kalashnikov rifles because that son of a bitch worked in every environment.
Yeah, the AK is a pretty reliable platform. It's not great, but it'll work.
It's a rattler because, like the 45 Colt Combat, if you've ever held a Colt Combat, the 45 1911, it rattles. Yep. But that thing, it's a workhorse. It won't break on you. Same thing goes for the AK-47. It's a shitty weapon, but the fact is, it's stable, and you can fire it, dunk it in water, come up and fire it. It's crazy
and
how functional that weapon is.
Are actually pretty good. Like the M4s we had were all pretty okay, but that's after 50 years of development and knowing what to do with it. Like we got really good cleaning kits. We knew.
You know what I carried?
Keep our ejection cover closed all the time.
Right before I got hit, you know what I did? I went out and got myself a grease gun.
That'll work.
Oh yeah, you bet your ass.
It's a stable weapon. It's another one of those machined weapons. It was machined. The parts were machined.
It was made to be as cheap to make as possible, and they could make them by the absolute ton.
Yep. My dad carried one when he was in the Army too.
Yeah, it replaced the Thompson, which actually was a shame because the Thompson, by that time, the time it was an M1 and an M1A1, was a solid submachine gun. And of course, a 45. Now, it's not good beyond 100 yards. But let me tell you what, up close and personal, it takes the worry out of being close.
Yeah, because I got to tell you something. It's a loud weapon. If you've ever been around a Thompson, I've gotten to fire them. Dale Dye, I salute you, sir. Dale Dye carried a 45 Thompson in Vietnam. And but I got to tell you what, man, it's so funny. What movie was that? There was a movie that was made, and one of the lead actors says, I want to carry me one of the Thompsons. I want to carry a Thompson. And then he started humping that thing, making the movie, and he goes, I don't want to carry this anymore. This thing's
she's
heavy.
a big girl.
It's big. The ammo is heavy.
The weapons
and depending
like
on what you had, if you had the drum or if you had a magazine.
The drum was only good on the model 1928 Thompson. After that, okay, the follow-on Thompsons weren't designed to carry those. And the 50-round drum rattled. It was noisy. It was a noisy accoutrement to the gun. So, you had your trade-offs. Now, granted, it sure as shit outdid a 20 and 30 round magazine, okay, as long as they were working. But they got gummed up too, and they wouldn't work. So,
yeah, that was
like I said, a trade-off.
drums is that they're just not reliable, or not as reliable as a stick mag.
Right.
And then in Vietnam, you of course had the workhorse of the military back then, the M60, which I've gotten the chance to fire it a couple of times. Oh man, I love that gun.
I used one when we were getting overrun up on the DMZ. Yeah, that was definitely a that was a workhorse. That was a workhorse.
And I carried its successor into Afghanistan, being the M240.
The 240, yeah.
God,
I hear that's a hell of a light
none of it weighed like 26 pounds empty. So I mean, talking 35 pounds loaded. So it's a big girl, and none of us cared because I wanted that gun on my side because it was what every time it would work.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what you want as a soldier. You want a reliable weapon. And what I did is I finagled deals through my sergeant to work with our armorer there on post. And I ended up with a 45 instead of a Beretta. And in the end, my sergeant wanted me to carry a weapon, a real weapon, combat weapon. So I said, I'll tell you what, because I'm a medic, I don't have to. I said, I'll tell you what, you get me a Colt Commando, I'll do it, because I thought there's no way he's ever going to get me one. No way. He presented it to me about 3 weeks later. And that's when I started doing the CQB training. I was going in there. I was usually last man in the stack. They always wanted me in the backdoor Gary and all that.
Yeah, well, let me ask a question. Let me ask a question to our Marine brother there. I'm sorry. What's your name?
Pope Metallicus.
Okay.
We just call him Pope.
Yeah.
Okay, Pope. That's good. In the sandbox where you guys were, I understand that the terrain there and the buildings and what have you were pretty damn made out of what, adobe and rock and that kind of shit, which the 5.56 would not reliably penetrate. So a lot of guys were requesting M14 type rifles. Is that true?
I mean, we never did because we had the 240 for things like that, or if we really needed to, the 50 cal on the truck. And God, I missed that 50. But yeah, over there, the terrain in Afghanistan was actually very open. So a lot of it was we could see the enemy, but the M16 just didn't have the range to hit them. Because the 5.56, it seems counterintuitive to a lot of people, but the smaller the caliber of the round, the faster it dumps its velocity. So after 500 yards, you're not going to hit anything accurately with a 5.56. So
but
that was where
did you have many guys
able to reach out?
Did you have many guys that were able to score with a 14 type weapon system?
We never had them. We had our snipers were using M48-5s.
Yeah.
Not the M21s?
No, the Marine Corps doesn't use them. The Marine Corps actually, every sniper rifle the Marine Corps uses has been gone over by Marine Corps armorers in Quantico, I believe, and like really highly accurized and like basically really high end guns. And then we had the M110s. For some of our scout platoon, they had the M110 and the M107. So we would use those because the M14. I mean, the M14 was already going away by the time I came in 2008, and the M110 did everything it did, just a little better.
Well, I'll tell you what, that M14 was a hell of a rifle.
Oh, I've shot them; they're great.
Yeah,
but they were getting a little long in the tooth by the time I came in. There was just better options.
Well, so's a 1911. But I'll tell you what, I got one today.
The Marines were actually still using the 1911 in some units.
1911 is a great
2018,
weapon.
I think the Raiders were still using them. In fact, we had the Raiders had their own variant of the 1911, the M45.
Now, I'm going to give a little history lesson of why the 1911 came into existence. When we're dealing with the Philippines at the turn of the 19th to 20th century, the Marines over there and Army both were running into problems where, by the way, if you didn't know this, we've been at war with Islam or Islamic, I don't know what to call it, Islamic activists, Islamic groups that were just pushing too hard. And since the early 1800s. And
1803.
With the Battle at Tripoli. And but Philippines, that's what we were dealing with there. Were the fundamentalist Muslims that were trying to take control of the country, and we were fighting them for the Philippines. And at that point, the Philippines were, an American territory. We're like, we're not going to have this shit. But the problem was they would get up in these trees and it would jump out with a machete taped into their hands or tied into their hands, and they would jump out, and the Americans would shoot them when they saw them, but they'd still fall and kill the soldiers with that machete. So they wanted a weapon that would actually knock or flip these guys when they shot them, so they were no longer dangerous to the soldiers down below. And it was decided that the 45 was the round to go with. Now, the 1911 hadn't been invented yet because that was a few years later. But they started arming a lot of the men with 45 revolvers. And it was actually knocking, because it's one of the few rounds that will actually do, like you see in movies, knock a guy backward or spin him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the whole goal of it. Because what it does is it uses something akin to the hydraulic effect, in that the round is moving slower, it's bigger, and it collects a lot of air in front of it, gases, as it moves. So when it hits you, it doesn't pierce, it punches. And that's why the 1911 was so important. And that's why we thought it was really dumb when they went to the Beretta 9mm. I'm like, what?
And let me tell you, the M9 is a piece of shit.
It is. I fired it too. They're garbage. I refuse to carry one.
And especially in Afghanistan, that open top of the slide there just collects dust, and it just jam up constantly.
Yeah. So the 1911, that thing, like I said, it rattles. And
well, part of the reason we adopted the Beretta 92F was real simple. Because of those dinks in Europe, NATO. Everybody's got to have the same bullet. Well, you know what? The fucking Krauts lost 2 wars, and what was their fucking round? It was a 9mm.
Every time.
Well, mixture of 9mm and 7mm, yeah.
Yep.
7mm is a goofy round. Like, what?
Although, I will say the 8mm Mauser is a hell of a cartridge. Like, next to the 30-06, it was probably the best round of that war.
Yeah. The best, I know we're talking about a dark subject by saying this, but that's the way we think. The best round to fight with is 7.62, period. It does the damage.
Although I'd be interested to see how this new 6.8 by 51 does, because they have upped the chamber pressure to like 85,000 psi. So this thing's moving.
Well, Bushmaster made a very interesting version based off of the M16 model M4, which is they call it I think it is still considered an AR-15, but it's got something added to it because they modified the barrel and the magazine placement and the magazine itself. It now carries, their Bushmaster carries 7.62 NATO. And I'm like, that's a weapon right there.
And of course, the pink elephant in the room, only at close range, is the 12 gauge shotgun.
Oh, hell
yeah. Yeah, those idiots, I'm not going to say any political names because we're not going to get political, but that think that the shotgun is the best self-defense weapon. You put a pistol in my hand, Colt 45 with extended magazine, I'm a happy dude. I'm a happy dude. I'm a happy dog, Anyway.
Yeah, hey. but hey, look, don't scream at that shotgun, dude, because with buckshot or even better slugs, well, you don't walk away from that.
Yep.
No, and I killed
hollow point slugs.
The only time I ever hunted a bear was with 12 gauge slug. And I didn't want to ever do it again because I swear to God, when I shot him, he looked at me like, why? And I was like, oh my God. And I told the guy I was with, I don't want to say his name because he's in prison now. He
won't see this for years then.
He looked at me and I looked at him and I went, I feel like I just shot a human. It was really awful. I felt so bad. And now I'm going to tell you, I ate the shit out of that bear meat. We had summer sausages made with it because really it's the only thing you can make with bear meat. Bear meat is not very good, but you can make sausage out of it. It's really good, including morning sausage. You can make like pork sausage, but with bear. It was really good, but summer sausage is really good. I gave one of the teeth to Jim Woodward. He's been on our show, buddy of mine from the military, and we grew up together. I don't know if he still has it. I'm going to have to ask him. You still got that bear tooth I gave you? Because that was from the bear I killed.
Well, when I got back from the Southeast Asian War Games, I had totally lost my taste for hunting, period. I did do a little bird hunting, okay?
My grandpa was the same way after World War I. When my grandpa got back from World War I, he refused to carry a gun for a while or shoot a gun. And he hated hunting. Eventually, he got it back to where he would, especially during the Depression, because that's how my family survived, was hunting and fishing and growing their own vegetables. But I got to tell you, man, a lot of warriors lose the taste for being around guns for a while. And in fact, when my grandfather was dying, he said, I don't want no goddamn 21 gun salute. And he was talking to my aunt. He says, don't you do it. I've had enough guns fired over my head. I'm done with that. Let me go in peace. And she did it anyway, against his wishes. And ironically, though, and I was there, I remember the funeral, 3 volleys. 3 volleys, 7 soldiers. 3 volleys. Only 1 round fired. Blank round. None of the others fired. They ejected, reload, nothing. And finally, on the 3rd attempt at a volley, 1 went off. I think cold weather.
I didn't mind guns, okay, because I basically had one ever since I got back. And the idea of using it for defense doesn't bother me in the least. It was going out and shooting basically innocent freaking animals. All right. I'm not hungry. If I were hungry, that might be different, but
that's why it's why I gave up hunting. It's like, look, man, I'm just kidding. I know how to do this stuff. If I have to survive on it, I can do it, but I don't want to do it. I would rather just buy my steak or my pork chops from the store. I don't want to slaughter my own animals. I know how to do it. I remember Christmas last year. Nobody knew how to slaughter a fucking duck, and I had to do it for the family. I'm like, Jesus Christ! They're trying to use a serrated edge, dude, a serrated edge knife to kill this duck, and I'm like, you've ruined the meat. I guarantee you, trying to do the serrated edge is going to go through those feathers. God, so I killed it. Anyway, and I was right. The meat was ruined. Gary shot Yogi. Hey, boo boo, let's go get us some picnic baskets. Oh, Gary killed me. Hey. So I did see something there I thought was funny. Someone said that Marines still believe in Santa.
You do.
So do I. What the hell?
That's right. I did not know NORAD had a website you can go to for Christmas. And
Yep.
thank you, Don, for sharing that with me. I was unaware. So I do want to say hi to everybody that's joined. Let's see who else. James Ritter, Hojo. Who else jumped in? That Dennis is here, of course. Dennis McCullough. Dennis, I believe, served, didn't he? Parrothead is here. Fletcher Williams is here. And, of course, our good friend Kingsport Cal and Shellback TJC. He's Navy. He served in the Navy. You were not here, Shellback, when I told my funny story about when the recruiter thought he would get me for the Navy because I wanted to be a Marine hospital corpsman. And I was told that I only had a 20% chance. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to be in the Navy. No, thanks. No. And I walked out. Just said, no. Thank you. No.
The funny part was I was home for something. And then, I was just hanging out at the local mall with a buddy of mine. And this Navy recruiter came up and started talking to us because we're about the right age for that. And I let him go through his whole freaking spiel and give him his whole sales pitch. And then I just pull out my Marine Corps ID and just put it on the table.
There you go. I also just noticed that Joe's Atmosphere, Wolverine 626, Arlena's Jester of Sin, and of course, the lovely Magitech Mags. She's gorgeous. She really is so pretty.
She's a great girl.
Oh,
hey, by the way, Gary,
fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
That guy that was here earlier in the show that was telling everybody, the clean shaven dude with, my father was in, my grandfather, my uncle, I wanted to ask him, well, why didn't you go? But I didn't. Okay, I didn't. But
that's fun.
The good news.
No, that's Matt. Matt did go. Matt tried to, and he was 4F. They wouldn't take him.
Well, the good news. The military is so short right now of troops. They've raised the age of enlistment. Now you can go in there at 41. Can you fucking believe going through
since 2004? The deployment rate is so high. We have guys that have served in more deployments than throughout the history of the military. They've been on more deployments, and that's crazy. You can't do that.
One of my company gunnies, he had been on 9 deployments in 11 years.
That's insane, dude. That's insane.
They shouldn't even let you do that.
No, that should be illegal.
And I blame Richard Milhouse Nixon.
Well, thank you very much. I'm so glad you did.
That son of a bitch did away with the draft in 1972 when I was coming back after I got out of the hospital and I came back home, and it was to appease the left. Okay, appease the left. Look, I got no problem if they
I find that funny because it was a Democrat that started the draft.
Yeah, I got no problem. Well, Abraham Lincoln loved the draft, but I got no problem. And he, by the way, was a Republican.
Yes,
but I saw a sign put up by some Democrats that said something to do with abolishing slavery. Thank you, Abraham Lincoln, a Democrat. And I about shit myself laughing.
Right. But anyway, let's not go political.
No, but Nixon did away with the draft.
Yeah.
That means nobody has to have skin in the game anymore.
Well, we just
you don't want to
draft. We just don't actively use it right now.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine what the snowflakes around today?
Oh my God!
They reinstituted the draft.
I would love to watch some of these people.
Well, look, the fact is, I stand by the fact that every single American citizen physically capable should serve. whether it's military or other, or like Civil Air Patrol, serve in some fashion, at least a year to 2 years. It's expected in other countries. Why not here? Civilized Western countries do that, but not us. Anyway, 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser is a good friend of mine. I love the guy. He is here. Daryl the Derelict came and left, but I wanted to say welcome. Anybody else jump in yet? No. Good. We're good. So what's this? King's Workout said they wouldn't take me in the late 90s because I had felonies. I'll tell you what, they'll turn an eye when they're hungry now for people. And they'll even go out of their way because they helped a buddy of mine. I don't want to say his name because I don't know if you'd want me to, but he wanted to go into Marines, and but he had a felony conviction with drug possession, intent to distribute, and he went to prison. And two things happened. They said that they would help contact the judge to get that expunged. And on top of that, he had to have laser off all of his tattoos around his neck.
Yep.
And he went through all that trouble and then last minute decided, I'm too old. And didn't go. And I'm like, why did you do that? All that shit you went through and then you didn't go. His brother went, though. He's been on the show, Chris. He's met you, Don. My buddy Chris, he's that circus guy. His name is something Circus. He was Army Ranger. He served in Afghanistan. 2 deployments in Afghanistan. And
Ranger, that's interesting because those guys get pumped out everywhere.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I want to get back to We Were Soldiers. Great cast. Greg Kinnear plays the real life Major Bruce. I forget his last name. That was the chopper pilot that went against orders and kept flying in and taking wounded out and bringing them more
ammo in.
We got Sam Elliott, who was in the military during Vietnam. I don't think he was deployed. He was in that often. I really dislike when people insult National Guard because National Guard is part of the military. It's Army National Guard.
And these days, the National Guard deploys more than...
Are the backdoor draft reserves, and because our Marine, right here in Springfield, our Marine Reserve unit was deployed 4 times.
Yep.
And we were there to welcome them home each time. I got some great pictures of my daughter welcoming them home. She was mounting one of the automatic grenade launchers.
Nice.
One of the big ones. She's on that thing.
The Mark 19.
She's got her Army. My dad's in the Army hat on. Little badass. She also got on a 50. She got on a mounted 50. It was really sweet. That little girl. I love my baby.
I miss that gun so much. It's so nice.
50 caliber is a hell of a weapon. And I tell the story again. I'm going to tell it here. It's in my script for City of Fire. The true story of the Battle for Mosul on June 24th, 2004. When everybody went in lockdown when 2 or 3 massive 500-pound car bombs went off throughout Iraq. 3 places. One was in Mosul. Nobody left the FOBs that day. They were all locked down, except for one group, the 72nd Stryker Brigade, who was an experimental group. Nobody knew about the Strikers in 2004. Nobody heard of this shit because they were scared. The Army was scared. Like, will these work? And they worked. They put that slat armor on the side for RPGs and shit. It was a great weapon because the enemy couldn't hear them coming. They just show up at their front doorstep and breach, and just guys were like, what is going on? Caught off guard, man. Make a mouse hole, But in the story, the 72nd Brigade went out to fight the Hodges that took over a mosque and the police station. And the police station and hospitals were targets that day. And as well as civilians. It was the first time the insurgency had directed its ire at the civilian populace of Iraq. It was what we refer to as sort of their Tet Offensive on June 24, 2004. And this time, they killed a lot of civilians, people that were in line to become cops. They were killed. People at a hospital were injured out front. And the then the insurgents took the police headquarters and the mosque across the street. And so the strikers, and I've got footage of it, of the battle. They're just these strikers are having trouble, and the last striker was the only striker that had a mounted 50 on him. The rest of them had the robotic 50 that the guy controlled down below with his controls right next to the FPCB2 system. And so there's this guy sitting on the back of the striker with his hands, you know how the 50 is, hands sitting there, thumbs resting on that butterfly trigger, just sitting there, aimed down an alleyway, just not thinking anything, because nothing's really happening at this point. And he said, all of a sudden, this guy jumps out like, ha-ha, goes up in the air and comes down with an RPG on his shoulder. Does that little, aha, from behind a wall, and leaps out, and he leapt right into the sights of his 50. He didn't have to move the weapon. And he just looked at the guy, and the way I wrote it's a little differently, because I had to throw a little excitement into it. But basically, he just went, boop, one little click, boop, one round. And he said the guy just obliterated. It was just a mist. Upper body became a mist as he exploded.
I can imagine. That's just one of those, just like, the word just pops in your head, you lose.
Well, originally, because Audie Murphy, we brought that name up earlier, was known for shooting all those Germans and, fighting them off on that tank that was on fire. And that was a mounted
tank.
50.
It was a tank destroyer.
Tank destroyer. Had a mounted 50 on it. And technically, he broke the law doing that because he used what was referred to as anti-armor. 50 caliber was not for...
That is such bullshit.
I know it's bullshit, but that's what it was. It was not
it's
a
like
NATO
napalm. Napalm was one of the finest inventions ever. Okay.
Sticky fire.
Yeah.
Sticky fire.
Sticky fire. And it gets the job done. Let me tell you what, I saw it used. And if you were on the receiving end of it, you didn't want to be there. No, sir.
Because it got all over you, and there was no escape from that. But the 50 was at that time during World War II considered a non-NATO round, and it was not to be used against humans. And he did that, and of course, I think everybody went, well, we're not going to look at that right now. Just kind of turned to look the other way.
Shit like that happens all the time. Where I know for a while we weren't using the green tip ammo because the guys we were shooting at weren't armored, so they gave us M262, which is what they call open tip match, because if we called it a hollow point, that would be a war crime.
Mustard gas, Kingsport Cal, it was made illegal. Mm-hmm. The use of chemical warfare is absolutely illegal, even though we know Iraq was doing that shit to the Iranians when they were at war with each other and against Syria too. So, Saddam Hussein was notorious for that shit. And, there were stockpiles finally found eventually, but nobody wants to talk about that. But
there was a hell of an argument near the end of the war before we deployed the atomic weapons that would have been one way we could have gone into Japan to alleviate the horrendous casualties they were expecting by deploying and utilizing chemical weapons. And there were a lot of people that were all in favor of that.
Yeah, it's a humane issue. And this goes back to something that I've talked about. I'm against the use of it, but I understand what Tecumseh Sherman said when he, not just the war is hell, and the way he said it is different than the way most people say it. He goes, he was emphasizing is hell. But when he burned Georgia, Atlanta, he did that on purpose to tell the citizenry. It's like the bombing of Dresden. Sometimes you got to remind the citizens, you've got a say in this. Stop your government. Yep. You're just as much to blame here. Don't just sit there and act like you're innocent, and so you end up with these moments in history. And Tecumseh Sherman says sometimes we have to do worse than the enemy to get them to stop.
Well, this bullshit about this weapon is inhumane, this one is okay. You shoot somebody in the head with a 5.56, they're dead.
Killing
You
somebody's
drop
not-
an A-bomb on them, they're dead. You drop napalm on them, they're dead. Are they any less dead or more dead?
Yeah, I know.
An M2? It's stupid.
It really
and
is.
That's why we haven't won a fucking war since World War II. We haven't won.
Well, I do say this, even though it wasn't a war. Vietnam, we won it, but then we surrendered. And I'm not going to, because you and I know who did this. When we got them to go to the Paris peace talks, we won. That was our victory. We got them to agree to a treaty. And then a bunch of assholes in Washington defunded the war, and we had to pull out, and we couldn't make the North Vietnamese and the Chinese and the Viet Cong obey the treaty. And then when we left, what happened? 2 million people were murdered. 2 million, over 2 million actually. And
that was just Cambodia.
It's just unbelievable. Yeah, the Khmer Rouge. We had anybody who helped the Americans in Vietnam was taken out and executed.
Yep.
And our government is to blame for that.
And
not the soldiers.
And the Afghan people are going to go through the same thing.
Well, they have already done it. When he pulled out like he did, I mean, I know. Hold on. God damn it. God damn it.
And they gave them a fucking list of all the guys who had helped us. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I just said pull out, so I got to play this video here. Hold on.
Phrasing. Phrasing.
I'm coming out.
Phrasing.
God, I missed that show.
And by the way, for you,
it's still
for
going.
you, Pope, I have this one video I got to play real quick. I like playing this one every once in a while for all my vet buddies because this freaking makes me giggle every time I see it.
Hey, here's your free cup of coffee from a lady in Rhode Island. What?
I tell people, aren't you afraid that someone's going to be offended by that? I said, I don't know one veteran who would be offended by that. They would laugh at it because it's dark and it's funny. Because gallows humor, man, that's all over the military.
And the proper response is, wow, that was dark. Yeah, but it got really bright for like half a second.
Yeah, it got really bright for half a second.
And, I actually asked one of the REOD guys, like, dude, like, how do you do what you do? Like, just going and defusing minds like that. He's like, well, simple. Either I'm right or all of a sudden it won't be my problem anymore.
Yeah, by the way, my nephew, Eric, my daughter and I went to his graduation from AIT before he got deployed. Once he got the permanent party, they immediately got deployed. And his job was dealing with IEDs. He was demolitions for the U.S. Army and graduated from Fort Leonard Wood. And God, it was so funny. My sister, in a panic, calls me. Like, I didn't know what he did. Oh, my God, he works with explosives. I'm so terrified. I said, oh, sis, calm down. There's a billion other things in the military that'll kill him before doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister like, that's not helping. And I went, I didn't know that's what you wanted. I was just trying to tell you he's not going to die from doing his job.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't say neither are you. And then,
very few problems in life can't be handled by a suitable amount of C4.
Amen.
Very true.
Amen. I always like shape charges, and because one of my favorite things, you ever do this, make a mouse hole doing CQB?
Not really. We would clear with grenades.
Well, I mean, when you have to make a door, because sometimes you don't want to go through the door. Sometimes you want to make a hole in the wall and use C4. They have these things. They look like a diamond. You place them out against the wall, click, and then it explodes, and you're popping grenades going in. And I don't know about you, but we were trained to go in with the grenade going off because we were taught, we knew exactly how long the fuse was. So we would throw it in, we'd already be breaching, and we would do that real quick. right when it would go off.
Well, it
And
depends
that way
on
you're
what
not blinded.
you're talking.
And we're
about.
all wearing protective
Like, if you're using a flashbang, yeah, then that's fine. But if you're using a frag like we were,
no, not a frag. Jesus Christ, I'm not insane.
Dude,
Although
the funny part was in infantry school, one of our guys actually tried to do that. Like, and we were like really clear. I mean, sometimes you meet some guys who are in the infantry who aren't too bright, but
that throw the pin instead of the grenade.
No, and our instructors were like, okay, you wait until the grenade goes off and then make entry. And sure enough, as soon as this number 2 chucks the grenade in, this guy ran in right after it.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
We had to, like, fortunately, our armor has like handles on the back. He's like, no, get back here.
By the way, I was watching, I wanted to show Anima because I was trying to explain, she really loves all this stuff I'm teaching her about the military and about weapons. And we watched Marine units practicing mount training.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this great moment where this Marine is right around the corner from the door, and it's the number 2 guy, steps out to throw the grenade, and it's, thank God it's a fake, not the real thing, because they were training. He hits the fucking door jam and it bounces right back out at him. You hear everybody laughing, going, good throw. But if you've never watched them, dude, go watch those CQB videos from Army and Marines, man. Some of the best stuff. And I found it interesting. Marines do mount differently than the way we were trained to do it.
Well, it's because we have a different unit structure.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting. I'm like, wow, I've never seen that before. The way you guys move in a stagger position rather than in a line.
Yep.
And
that way we always have at least 2 people who can fire at something.
Yeah. And I'm like, that is interesting that you guys were taught that way, because it makes sense when I was watching it going, yeah, you got 2 guys in the fight rather than just one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was explaining to people, like when you first go in, depending on the shape of the room, each person has a designated corner to go to. Their primary focus is to make sure that they look forward and then turn immediately to the corner they're going to. And anybody that's in that corner, there another one has that other corner, and that's how you clear a room really quickly. And just to talk about Call of Duty real quick here, because I don't know if you play Call of Duty, man, but I played with a bunch of my veteran buddies, and we had a clan, and we were like one of the top clans on America's Army, and we were kicking ass. And I almost went pro back in 2014 playing, because we used proper training to do everything we did in the game and just wipe the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we used to do the same thing. Like, I remember back when Battlefield 2 was big. I was in college at the time at Norwich. And so we would have games going, like there would be like 10 of us on there on one team, and we would be using like actual tactics and communication and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like the other team, you could hear the other team every now and again.
Okay, I want to know. Did you do this? Reloading.
Mm-hmm.
It's a habit. You just never get out of it.
Although we had some rather hilarious moments, like one of my buddies up at school, didn't matter where on the map he was. If there was an artillery strike happening anywhere on the map, he'd be under it.
Hey, by the way,
none of us wanted to stay anywhere near him.
I just remembered another movie that we should have mentioned.
We still have some movies to go over.
Still Helmet from 1951.
Yeah, that's a Korea War film, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. Good film.
Very, very, very realistic.
Wait. I'm trying to remember who was in that. God damn it.
Gene something. It was actually his first role.
Great freaking movie. It's got Gene Evans.
Yeah.
James Edwards. There's another guy in there that I'm trying to see if I remember if he was in that or not. I'm not seeing him. But Gene Evans was great in that film, dude.
Played a World War II retread.
Oh, and that's where the name Short Round came from, because William Choon played the part of Short Round. Good film. God, I haven't seen that in a long time. Yeah, James Edwards is one of the great black actors that came up playing legitimate characters, not, caricatures, which was a huge move for civil rights, in my opinion, in Hollywood.
Well, that movie covered a lot of racism, the attitudes of the people. And remember, 1951, there was a Japanese American actor in that who played a former member of the 442nd, the black medic. Okay,
that was Evans. That was Evans.
Yeah, and we're talking 1951. The military had only been integrated for like 5 years.
Well, here's the funny thing, and I don't want to make a dig, political dig, so I'm going to avoid that. But the military was desegregated before World War I. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
that it was a specific president, the same one who had the premiere of a racist movie shown at the White House called Birth of a Nation. That same president is the one who resegregated the military, and it stayed segregated until right after World War II.
And there have been some all-black units that have done really, really great.
Oh my God, yeah, Battle of the Bulge,
Harlem Hellfighters.
Yeah, sadly, none of the airborne guys, the black soldiers, got used, and it really sucks. But we had some great pilots, combat pilots. We had amazing foot soldiers that were in black units that served in the Battle of the Bulge. They captured a lot of Germans. What's that?
There was also a bunch of tankers, weren't there, that served under Patton?
I don't remember. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I gotta break away for a minute. I'm cooking dinner tonight, and I gotta add something. So I'll be right back.
Okay. So while we're taking that break away from him, the black guy's back. Anyway,
Eric, you have to whisper that word.
Yeah. Black. Keith, have you been enjoying listening to this? I hope you had a good show.
Heck yeah.
All right. So while we're taking this break, I'm going to go through a bunch of them. Obviously, Black Hawk Down is in the list. Black Hawk Down. And I found that film ironic as hell, because what is the subtitle of that film? It's Black Hawk Down, No Man Left Behind.
Yep.
And what did they do at the end of the movie? They left the guy behind. And nobody caught the irony of that. Ridley Scott, I don't think he understands irony at all. That's ironic as fuck. That he named the film that and then left the guy behind at the end. We got him back later, but that's done in text.
Knowing about that incident, like the sheer brass balls on those two Delta snipers, Randy Gordon and Gary Shigart, like when they hit the ground and went to go rescue Durant, they knew they weren't coming back.
Yeah, it was a suicide mission,
and that's like one of the most emotional moments in any movie I've ever seen. Where it's just like, "Hey, Gordy's gone, man. I'll be outside. Good luck."
It's funny that I find it interesting because I saw the same thing with some of the older veterans when I went to see Saving Private Ryan. During the battle scene, they would get up and walk out, and I went out with them because it was getting so intense.
Oh God, yeah!
But the emotional
scene was like
impact,
the most violent thing anyone had ever seen.
A most realistic combat scene too. On top of that, despite some of the dipshits that, because if it was the military combat scenes, that's Del Dye. He directed those scenes.
Yep.
All of the other scenes are directed by Steven Spielberg, and he did stupid shit like having guys walking, not staggered or the proper 15 yards apart. 15 yards apart. It's supposed to be separated, and everybody talks through either hand gesture or through whisper, where you come up close to someone and say, it's like saying echo, just repeat, pass it down the line. And you never talk you don't talk full voice in occupied France. And then the dipshit
on the line,
and then what's the first thing you're taught in Army? I don't know about Marine Corps. Never make a silhouette, never walk on a ridge line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Don't
first fucking thing they do, they come up over a ridge, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, Then they're talking in occupied France, full voice, close together, and on top of that, the cocksucker has just the balls to tell the young kid typist, stop saluting the captain because you get him shot by a sniper. To which I whispered, maybe he should take those captain bars off his helmet too.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were painted red on the back.
The last war we ever did that in.
Yeah, it was goofy.
We're getting capped fucking constantly.
Yeah. So yeah, because they would go after. Like I was talking to Don about this the other day. Is that they would the biggest targets were your combat medic, your RTO, and often your commanding officer, XO.
Oh, machine gunner.
Oh, and machine gunner. I forgot that one. You reminded me.
That's still true. Like your basic infantry tactics of as soon as I start
well, medics are harder to.
Everyone wants to shut me the hell down.
Medics are hard to spot now because since I was in, we didn't have to wear the red cross on our helmets or on our arm. We just looked like we were part of the unit. The only difference is I had a 45-pound bag on my back hip. That was my medic pack, along with my my Alice pack. And you guys got better. Oh my God, you guys got better packs. Your personal packs are great.
Our LB packs were great.
Unbelievable. Not to mention, we wore LBEs at the time. You got VBs and shit like that now.
We were wearing MTVs.
Yeah. Oh my God, even better.
Like, we hated them because they were so padded and full of soft armor that you couldn't actually get the rifle into the pocket of your shoulder like they teach us. So we couldn't actually engage the enemy properly because our equipment was getting in the way.
Yeah. In fact, a buddy of mine who's a Navy SEAL is the inventor of a special shoulder sling made for guys wearing that stuff.
Yeah, and fortunately, when they replaced the MTV with the SPC, like the actual plate carrier rather than the full armor vest, they fixed that problem, fortunately. And the plate carriers were great.
Outstanding, dude. Now, Black Hawk Down was the next one. Platoon is one of my other favorite films, even though I hate the ending of that film. Traveled 1,000 miles to find out the enemy was us. I wanted to punch Oliver Stone in the nuts for saying that. What a fucked up thing to say. Like 1% of your fucking vets feel that way, you cocksucker. He's a commie. And he is. He's a card-carrying commie. Fuck Oliver Stone. But Platoon was really good. And Dale Dye wrote the book, the novel, Platoon. Interestingly, he and Oliver Stone both carried a copy of John Del Vecchio's 13th Valley in their hip pocket, on their cargo pants that they were wearing. To reference, they had dog-eared and marked sections of the book that they thought were important to focus on. So John Del Vecchio secretly was used to help make that film more realistic. And he's going to be our guest this coming Wednesday, Don and I, on Dangerous Military Nerds. It airs at 4:00 Eastern Time at KGRA Radio, plus also on this channel. You'll be able to watch us live here. And we'll have John Del Vecchio, a celebrated military veteran from the Vietnam War. He was 101st Airborne combat correspondent. I like, what is that line from Full Metal Jacket? No shit. You're a writer. Thought you were a Marine. Arlie Ermy.
Much combat.
Too much. I think it's so funny that Arlie Ermy went in there to steal that role from that other actor who ended up being the machine gunner, the helicopter machine gunner in the movie. He was originally cast as Hartman. And Arlie Ermy went in full gear and would do the readings with the actors in full gear as a drill sergeant. And after a point, he put it into Kubrick's head that nobody else could do that. And plus, he was so amazing. In fact, he was so amazing. That's why the book is so different than the film is. All of Arlie Ermy's dialogue is not in the book. That was all Arlie Ermy.
Yeah, every single bit of that was just ad-lib from, I think he was a drill instructor at one
Yeah,
point.
he was a DI. He did a tour in Vietnam, or at least a partial tour. But he was a Marine drill instructor. And
a staff sergeant.
Now, in the Army, we call them drill sergeants. We'll also refer to them politely as DIs, but they're actually drill sergeants. Marine Corps is drill instructor. And in the Marine Corps, you refer to them as sir. Sir, yes, sir.
Yes.
They're in the Army, we were told during basic training, it is Sergeant, yes, Sergeant, that we were not to call them sir. Don't ever let me hear that.
I work for a fucking living.
That's right. I work for a fucking living. I heard some of the funniest shit come out of those drills, and they were the funniest dudes. But don't get caught fucking laughing, because they will fuck your shit up.
The worst moment in boot camp is when you're sitting there doing your drill instructor impression, and then all of your friends that are standing around you stop laughing, because that usually means he's right there, and you can he can feel him. Just like as soon as you turn around, you know it's over.
By the way, Jeebus, my boss again was a senior military advisor for Starship Troopers. All of that military stuff, all the combat, he was in charge, and he is actually one of the generals that appears at the end of the movie after they capture the smart bug. But another film I liked a lot was Apocalypse Now. I'm a big fan of, despite his anti-war setting, because I consider anti-war borderline anti-soldier. It depends on how they conduct themselves. As long as you don't speak out about what soldiers are doing, that's my problem with what's his name, Brian De Palma. Twice he's made anti-war films that were actually, in my opinion, anti-soldier. He did Redacted, which was about that rape and murder in Iraq. And then he also made the movie Casualties of War. I had a problem with both of those films. Dale, of course, thank God, was the senior military advisor on Casualties and helped make it a good film. But the fact is I really hated that. He says, I'm going to find the one thing, that 1% of bad things a soldier did, skip all the 99% good, and I'm going to talk about that one thing. And it paints the fucking military, and it affects the morale of soldiers when shit like that comes out during the war.
Mm-hmm. Well, that movie had two problems with it.
Oh, Casualty of War. That wasn't out during Vietnam. I was actually talking about Redacted.
Sean Penn.
Go ahead.
Sean Penn.
Fuck that guy.
And his girlfriend in spirit, Jane Fonda. Now, I know Jane Fonda didn't have shit to do with that. But when I think of one, I think of the other. They're both a couple of commie pieces of shit.
They're not liberal. They're not liberal Democrats. They are commies. They're Hollywood commies. Brian De Palma is absolutely a commie. Oliver Stone is a commie. They're communist supporters. They support the communist cause. So fuck them. And if they say, "Oh, socialist is just democratically elected communism," that's all that is. Don't tell me otherwise. Fuck you. I know the difference. I've read books, not just your fucking
communist who won't admit they're a communist yet.
Yeah, they always, I'm socialist. Fuck you. Anyway, Apocalypse Now is a really great film. It really is. Michael Herr did a great job on a lot of that, but some of the best military stuff, and I loved it when Francis Ford Coppola was asked, well, how much of the movie is yours and how much is John Milius? And he says, you remember all those scenes that you really like and those lines you like to quote from the movie? Those were all John Milius. The stuff that you don't remember or like, that's me. John Milius wrote an amazing Vietnam War film. He is a great lover of combat warriors. He loves warriors. I wish he could make a comeback, but since he had the stroke, I don't think he's got it in him to do anything. I don't know if he lost his ability to speak or not. I've heard that. I don't know. But he's worked, and he's very close with Dale and Julia. And I've actually asked them, by the way, Keith, to help me get in touch with him. If he can come on the show, I want to interview him if he's able to do it physically. I would like to have him on the show.
Awesome.
I grew up loving that man.
Conan alone.
Just his work in film. When you look back at his retinue of everything he wrote or had a piece of, wow, dude, wow. But anyway, Apocalypse Now is, in its own way, a great war film. I like the fact that they tried to find a way to replicate tracers by using fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nifty the way they did that. And absolutely one of the best scenes in cinema history is the beach scene. When they hit that village. playing Flight of the Valkyries from those helicopters.
Charlie, don't surf, sir.
Yeah, Charlie, don't surf. He's got a drill sergeant voice. When you listen to him, he has a real drill instructor voice in that film, Robert Duvall, because it's almost like he's hoarse. And that's how drill sergeants talk. And it's like they always sound like they've just lost their voice and are forcing it now. And God, man, when he does the smell of napalm in the morning thing, all of that shit, just fucking beautiful. You know, get into the fight or surf. What a fucking movie. I actually like it, the Redux.
Yeah,
I liked it. I liked the re-edition of the French plantation. That was interesting because a lot of people forget that the French were there before we went there. Got their asses handed to them, and that's broached at the beginning of We Were Soldiers too. It shows that same location and the French being taken out by the Vietnamese.
Well, I find it crazy that the French Foreign Legion, of course, they sent the Legion over there. Christ, half the Foreign Legion were former SS.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, yeah. And by the way,
something to do after the war.
When I served, I got close with a couple of those French Foreign Legion guys. One of them was an American, and he and I got into a fight. It was a funny fight. It was an argument that lasted quite a while. Who created and said it first? And the way I started it was, you, sir, are a USDA prime choice cock pilot. And he said, but I said cock pilot first. And I went, no, I did, saying that. And it was a French Foreign Legion guy. He lived in California for a while. And we got into this MySpace battle back and forth of who said it first. And we stayed friends after the war, but I lost contact. When MySpace died, I lost contact with a lot of those people that I was friends with on there. But what?
There's deleted scenes in Apocalypse Now that are awesome. There's one where Kurtz is reading the paper to Martin Sheen. And there's just all these kids and everything going around like, you know, see how they're depicting this? What bullshit it is? You know, not his exact words, but he's showing them like how what's actually going on is nothing like what the newspaper.
Well, in the Redux version, he's more human. He's treated more as a human too. And I like that because he's based on a real general, and it pisses me off because that general actually did an amazing job, was decorated for the work he did. I forget that general. Who was that, Don? Do you remember? That Kurtz is based on? No. He's based on a real guy, and it's really sad.
It was from a book, Heart of Darkness.
Well, it's based on Heart of Darkness, but
took place in Africa.
But the Kurtz character in Heart of Darkness for the movie Apocalypse Now is they found a real historical guy that went into Cambodia, and so he did a good job, and he lived a long life and was a hero, not a villain. But I like that you had a shirt that said Charlie Don't Surf. I also had a shirt that Fonzie on. Oh, okay, that's just derailing. Fuck you, I'm not going to do Fonzie right now. Did Don set his house on fire because you're foggy? We can barely see you right now.
What the hell? I don't know. Oh, I'll tell you what it is. You know what it is?
What?
The goddamn fly.
It's like, oh, good to see you. I love that Anima watches the show right now, is paying attention. She loves military stuff that we talk about. She wants me to take her out and train her how to fire a weapon. So I taught my daughter how to do it, and I said, yeah, I can teach her.
Can't do it in Croatia, Anima.
Yeah, she's got to come here. I'm going to take her out. I don't know. In Virginia, we had the Isaac Walton League. I always had access to their shooting ranges. But here in Missouri, I'm going to find someplace. I heard Bass Pro is an indoor range that you can use at the big Bass Pro. And I wanted to use it. I've never used it. I've always wanted to use it. But anyway, next favorite film, and I'm going to bet you Don liked this one too, Kelly's Heroes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Telling Savalas, Don Rickles. Oh my God, yeah.
Clint Eastwood,
Yeah.
just a
Clint
great
Eastwood.
film.
Donald
And Donald
Sutherland
Sutherland. Donald is a hippie. It's so funny. It's supposed to be a World War II film, but he was clearly a hippie. And that's the way Clint wanted him to play it. The tanker, the tank commander. He's a fucking hippie. He's like, hey, man. I love the way he talked in that film.
Why do you keep hitting me with these negative waves?
I know. It's so fucking good. Sniper is actually a really good film, despite the fake baby scene. I think that film would have been 100 times better if Clint would stop using that one asshole he always uses as his military advisor and get Del Dye in there. In fact, he was told by Tom Hanks and Spielberg to use Del Dye. And he keeps going he's got this, I get the loyalty thing. But the problem with a lot of his films is that guy makes mistakes. Del Dye doesn't make. But anyway, Sniper, really good film. My good friend Fahim Fazli is in it. And then, of course, another film with Del Dye involved, The Great Raid, which is the big POW camp raid where I think they were Marines again, rescued a bunch of Americans being held by the Japanese.
No, they were not Marines.
No,
I thought they were.
They were Rangers.
Rangers all the way. Okay. Good film. If you've never seen it, go check it out, man. On the special features for Saving Private Ryan and The Great Raid, there's a video called Dale Dye's Boot Camp, where he puts those soldiers through a shorter version of basic training. It's a little shorter. It's like, I think it's 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, but he puts them through hell and really hits them. None of the schooling. It's all the physical training, handling weapons, how to do this, how to do that. And every actor I've ever talked to that's worked with Dale said that it helped them, not just with the military stuff, but be better actors, learning how to focus and do things. I like hearing that shit. The next film is a little independent film that Del Dye, it was like his third major film that he worked on. Even though I don't consider it major, I consider it an independent film called 84 Charlie Mopic, which was shot like it was a handheld camera by a camera crew that is there for these incidents that take place during a very short period of time. And the last image of that film is always like in my head when that guy goes back to help the other guys get to the helicopter. And I'm like, stop dragging ass. I'm yelling at the TV screen. Stop dragging ass, man. Why are you walking so slow? And then he gets nailed, and they get to the helicopter and he starts to get up and then gets hit by another round. And then they lift off and that's the end of the film. Them looking at him as he's laying there dead in the middle of this village. Really good film. Not great, just good. And then I already talked about this one, so I'm going to skip that one. Now I want to go to the UK. And I never want to forget our friends and allies on this Veterans Day. The UK had two films that I actually did like, even though I have problems with both of them. 1917. I like that it was done in real time. If you don't know what real time is, that means the amount of time that takes place in the film is the same amount of time that the film is. So from the moment it starts to its end is that time in that soldier's life.
And it's one.
Not really,
shot,
because
right?
there was a moment in which the.
Do they do a jump? I don't remember.
Yeah, they do a time jump because he gets unconscious and he stays.
That's right.
For hours.
Yeah,
but that's the only one.
Yeah, it's past that, it stays real time, and I like that. I like when people take that, because you got to learn how to cut, because Hitchcock was the first one to do it with rope. And in that film, what he did is he knew that there were 10 minutes of film, and when they started getting down to that 10-minute mark, he would push the camera into somebody's back or into an object so it would darken for a split second, and then they would reload the camera, and then everybody take their spots where they're supposed to be and restart the scene and back away like it never ended. So it was really seamless the way they did it. And then Josh Becker, who's been on our show a few times, was the second director to do it with running time with Bruce Campbell, and I did the official artwork for that film in '97 and for the re-release for 4K this year, earlier this year, and I got to do the poster and DVD cover. And real time is just something that nobody does really. It's hard to do. You got to plan it. And 1917 did that, and I thought that was good. They had him doing things, and the other thing is the character should have a character arc. The character, every single time he's faced with a situation where he needs to kill somebody, he doesn't do it, and it ends up costing him later, causing problems. And so it's like his character doesn't learn. I dislike that. And I felt like some of the things he got into, there's no way you got into all of that in one hour or 2 hours. That's like on the series 24. There's a kidnapping every hour on the hour.
And Jack Bauer never uses the bathroom, ever.
Yeah, nobody used the bathroom. Hey, Joe, your car is loud as fuck.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry about that. I'm on my way.
No problem, bud.
I'm on my way to the other job.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I just got done with the sign work, and I'm on my way over to Core, the rehab I'm a resident manager for. I just wanted to wish you guys a happy Veterans Day.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Yeah, that's not loud. That's not loud at all. What the fuck?
I don't know what that was.
That was somebody's phone.
It wasn't mine.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And happy Veterans Day to you too, my brother. Even though you were an MP and most of us don't like you fuckers.
Yeah, I don't understand
I
why
love
Don
you, buddy.
wasn't sticking up for me when you guys were picking on me like that. He used to be a cop. What's up with that?
He wasn't a military cop.
No, he wasn't. Yeah. Look, I saw enough being a cop in the military to know I didn't want to be a civilian cop. That's for fucking sure.
Well, I'll tell you this. I will tell you this. My brother, Michael, God rest his soul, served as an MP.
Okay.
And so he's right there with you. The rest of us were good soldiers.
Well, listen, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. I just wanted to wish you guys all a happy Veterans Day. I hope you got that video, Pope, because I shot the end of it just for you.
I did, yeah.
Look, thank you for your service, all of you. And I want to hear some stuff about Boys at Company C, the one that Ernie made when he was still fresh out of
I
drill
got to
sergeant.
tell you, it's not in my top list. But I love that movie because it was the first real Vietnam film that I went to see. And Arlie Ermy had
one
got
of the first ones they made. So
well, it was also before he got his teeth fixed because his teeth were
Right.
all fucked up in that movie.
Right. Well, the reason why I loved it so much, every time they have the scene, or every time I see the scene with him chewing Washington's ass in private about going lone wolf and how, all that shit, I see my father every time because that's what got him out of the Army was his tour of duty as a drill instructor. I mean, that as a drill sergeant. So, listen, guys, I'm going to go. I got to go to work, but happy Veterans Day. And
Happy Veterans Day to you, my friend.
Gentlemen.
Shake it easy, bud. Shake it easy.
Take care, Joe.
Have a good one.
So, yeah, Boys of Company C, I love that film, but it's just not going to ever get on my list for great films because it had a lot of problems. Hamburger Hill. My problem with Hamburger Hill, as good a film as that was, I hate movies with combat scenes with music in them. The music of combat is the sound of combat. You don't need anything else. I dislike it when they score music over a battle scene. Anyway, Dunkirk is the next UK film that I actually really enjoyed it. I felt it was a little long in the fucking tooth, but it's a good fucking film. And I thought it paid homage to the people who got in those boats and went over there and saved those guys because they're dead.
And
They're dead if they hadn't done
put
it.
A Bridge Too Far on that list as well, as far as British.
Bridge Too Far is absolutely another great film, and that's an international film.
Well, that brings up Zulu.
Oh God, yes.
See,
One of the best
Zulu.
war movies ever made.
Oh my God, yes. Michael Caine doing a proper English accent because they didn't think he could do it. He says, "I can do upper crust," and he did. I say, old man. He did that. I say, old man. I loved his characterization. That other actor, I forget his name. Great. Zulu is an amazing film. Now, I also like another film Burt Lancaster is in called Zulu Dawn. that came out in the 70s. Very good film. But
go tell the Spartans that's a Burt Lancaster movie.
Yep. Train, another World War II classic with him. Yeah, I'm not even reading. This is like just shit popping up into my head. I love the movie Train. And then kind of a lighthearted version of Train is Von Ryan's Express with Sinatra. Fun movie, fun World War II.
I kind of got a problem with him.
Sinatra?
I got a problem with,
yeah, he's a 4F'er.
And I got a problem with John Wayne. Okay, believe that or not.
Well, John Wayne, I always give him this. He was the sole money earner for his family. But he got 4F'd first.
Was he the only fucking guy?
No. There were a lot of guys
that went anyway. You know,
well, it led to an interesting situation because he was on the set of with Kirk Douglas. What was that movie? In Harm's Way.
Mm-hmm.
And Sturgis went in and found him in the bathroom, and he was in there quietly crying. And Sturgis confronted him, like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And he says, "I'm so ashamed because I'm doing this film, playing this character, and every single person around me is a veteran that served in the actual war." And Sturgis said, "You did your part. You did your part. But most of all, you're getting paid to do this, so get out there and fucking do your job." And it's interesting because it echoes something that happened to Jimmy Stewart. Because Jimmy Stewart comes back from the war, he's fucked up, man. He's fucked up. He had it out the ass, and he's making this little movie called "It's a Wonderful Life."
And that breakdown scene, he legitimately had a fucking meltdown.
Well, he had a real meltdown behind the scenes. And what's his name in the wheelchair? Yeah, you've got to listen to me. Great Barrymore, one of the Barrymores. He's having a breakdown, and he's like, I think I need to quit acting. I can't believe I'm doing this shit. I can't believe this. This is all fake. And he just was caught up in the whole fake aspect of Hollywood. And Barrymore rolled up to him, and he just basically said, "Look, go. If you don't want to do this, or get up and go do your damn job, but stop whining about it." And it broke him out of the thing, because he called him out for pissing and moaning and whining about it. He says, "Go or stay. Either do the acting or don't." And Jimmy Stewart, that little moment with Barrymore is why he stayed in Hollywood, because he got told stop whining and pissing and moaning about it.
Well, you know, Jimmy
that's
Stewart,
how you deal with a veteran like that, is just like, because that's how we're used to being talked to, is like either get out or shut up and do it.
Yeah.
He even flew a mission in Vietnam. Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, he was still Air Reserve. Yeah, he was a reserved. What is it? Full bird colonel?
No, he was a freaking general.
General, yeah. I'm not surprised, but I'm curious because he went in when it was Army Air Corps, then Army Air Force, and in 1947, right after Roswell, it became the Air Force. So he went to Air Force, right?
Right.
Yeah, because he did that movie Strategic Air Command, which I like that film. It's a good film. And he stayed in reserve, kept his rank. A lot of guys did, actually. A lot of guys that served in the military stayed in the military through their Hollywood careers, which I admire the shit out of that. And today, by the way, very few celebrities are actual veterans. One of the few. Yeah, one that I really love is Drew Carey. He was a Marine.
Yep. Yeah. The other one's Adam Driver. He was a mortarman. So he wasn't just an infantry. He wasn't just a Marine.
Yeah, but
He's a fucking grunt.
He before they deployed, though, he got medicaled out. Yeah. So he's kind of woke now. I don't think he got the full baptism of fire.
He isn't. He isn't. Like, if you notice, like when Ricky Gervais went off on his rant on his last Golden Globes, Adam Driver was the only one laughing.
Good. But what was I going to say? Another one was, oh my God, there's another one I was going to bring up and I forgot now. Oh God, I hate brain farts. But there's just a handful of celebrities that actually served. A lot of them are the old timers, guys that served like Tom Selleck served in the same unit as Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott were in the same unit, and they're actually close friends in real life.
Yeah, but
oddly,
Selleck never. He was what?
None
He
of them
was
deployed.
guard?
I don't think either of them deployed. I think no, he was. Both of them were guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
California National
National Guard. It's either California National Guard or California National Air National Guard. Were the two popular ones for actors to go. Kurt Russell did it. I think he was Air National Guard, and he's got a great love for veterans. And I still say, look, even though they're California, never deployed, thank you for doing your service.
You know, this morning, my wife came out and she gave me a kiss. She wished me a happy Veterans Day. She does that every year.
Good.
And you know, we're sitting there talking, and she said, "I got a question to ask you. Actually, two questions." And I said, "Okay." She said, "Okay, number one, when you were in Southeast Asia, what is the happiest event you recall?" And I shit you not, I sat there for damn near 5 minutes and I couldn't come up with one thing. And she said, and I told her, I honest to God, Vicky, I can't think of anything. And she said, "Okay, here's my other question." Now, this is going to sound like a bullshit story, but guys, I swear to God, it's God's truth. She said, "What is the most astounding thing you remember from over there?" And that was a no-brainer. I said, "When I died," and I did. I died on the operating table.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, it's after I was wounded, of course. And I said, "I remember it." And she said, and I've told her this before, but to tell you exactly what I'm talking about, that morning before I was wounded, we were getting hit. This was in Quantree. And I had been out. I was the NCOIC of the reactionary platoon because we got hit with sappers, but we were expecting infantry. And we had NVA iron coming down the highway. And I had been out on the perimeter all night long. I got back. I was eating a ration, a C ration. And then I went into the bunker. And then something happened. I heard some rifles going off, a machine gun, and a couple of bangs. I thought they were grenades. I grabbed my grease gun. I went charging out the bunker. I didn't even put on my flak vest because I had stripped it off. It was humid as hell. I get out there and then boom, boom. I took a round in the chest because we had sappers coming through the wire. One of them dinged me with this rifle. And then behind me, an artillery round went off and I got hit with shrapnel. So I'm laying there in the dirt and boy, I'll tell you what, I'm just looking around and finally somebody from the bunker heard all this shit, came out and grabbed me and pulled me in. They called for an evac and I'm laying there in and out because I had lost a shitload of blood. They get me down to Fubai and they did a little preliminary care. Then they ended up shipping me to the 95th evac. And I didn't think really that, well, I wasn't sure whether I was going to make it or not. But when they got me into the operating room, I thought, okay, all right, yeah, I'm good. And then I freaking died because when they gave me anesthesia, I started vomiting. And what do you call that, Gary? You aspirate?
Well, that's because they let you, yeah, it's aspiration. What they did is they had you eat and then without giving you enough time, had you go under. And that's what ended up happening with you is you because anesthesia will make you throw up.
But I saw them working on my body. I had a
out-of-body experience.
An out-of-body experience. I saw them. And you know what? It didn't even connect with me until much later what that experience was. Now, that sounds like a bullshit story, but I swear to God, that's exactly how it happened.
No, I don't. I don't doubt it for a second. I believe in those out of body experiences. But now Shinatsky shared something earlier, and I guess I'm going to show it now. Is William Shatner on the Tonight Show when Joan Rivers was still friends with Johnny, and she's hosting, and he starts talking about how a lot of veterans apparently. I'm curious about this. I've never heard this. Talking about veterans using Star Trek to help them. So I'm curious. I want to hear this. So I'm going to share my screen now. I never had sexual relations with that woman.
Enough about him and Hillary.
Here you go, guys. Low quality video, but I'm sure the audio is good.
And clubs and people. I some time ago, a moment that I think I'd like to share with you was the most passionate thing I'd ever heard about Star Trek was a driver who called for me at my house to take me someplace. A limousine driver who said that he had searched for years to come into contact with me and had traded off jobs to drive me. And he wanted to tell me a story. And the story he started to tell me, as he was telling me, tears were coursing down his cheeks. He said that he had been in Vietnam and been captured, and that a group of his friends who'd been in the same cell, the only way that they could keep themselves alive was to play the Star Trek game. And I said, what's the Star Trek game? And these were episodes that these young soldiers had memorized over the years. And in some cases, they were strangers to each other, but they knew the plots and the dialogue, and they would repeat the dialogue to each other and play an hour segment of Star Trek. And in that manner, they kept themselves not only alive, but sane. And it was the most moving story of that kind that I'd ever heard.
Did you tip him, or you figure he got enough out of you already?
Oh God, that was at 100% her.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get ganked for this one, but I really want to show that scene between McCoy and Spock on in Star Trek 4 when he's like, "You really have gone where no man has gone before," when he died. And Spock is like, there's no way we can talk about this without a point of reference. He says, are you telling me that the only way we can talk about this is if I die? And it's sort of, because Don's situation kind of reminds me of that, because, I died twice, but as a baby, and they revived me. The first time they killed me with penicillin, and they didn't realize it was the penicillin that killed me. So they gave it to me again. They killed me a second time, and they revived me. So I don't remember, but technically we're called zombies, those of us who died and were revived.
Yep. I've been through it.
Did you die?
Yep. This was a couple of years ago, like 2017, I think. I went to the Silky's hike in Washington, D.C. because a friend of mine invited me down. And we were all partying afterwards. I had quite a bit to drink. And then we got
No way. You drink? Get out of here.
And then got in a hot tub. And apparently my heart rate crashed to the point where my heart stopped. So
holy crap.
And then I woke up in the back of an ambulance. I'm like, what do you mean I died? I don't feel dead.
I'll tell you, in that out of body experience, and Vicky asked me, she said, well, did you feel anything? And I said, that, from what I remember, is the most at peace and content I've ever been in my entire existence. I didn't give a damn about a thing. Okay. I was cool. Totally cool.
Yeah, because you're in a state where you're disconnected from your body, so there's no pain, there's nothing. I bet it was very peaceful. But I was going to show that scene, but I don't know. I don't want this episode getting ganked in any way. But I do have to say that the funniest point in that is when Spock turns. He says, "I'm sorry, Doctor. I'm apparently receiving some distress calls," and McCoy goes, "I bet you are."
Oh, the relationship with that between the members of that cast was just glorious.
Oh yeah, and to be honest with you, one of the worst Star Trek movies was Star Trek V, and Star Trek V still has some of the best interpersonal moments in the entire franchise.
Oh god,
the camping scene, I love that movie. I really do. I dislike parts of it, but it also has one of the most memorable lines from Captain Kirk. Single most memorable line from Captain Kirk is, "Why does God need a starship?"
Robert answered his question.
Well, there's another line in that movie that I like better, and it was "I need my pain."
Yep.
No, and I get that. That's a good line.
And then there's my personal favorite scene, which is the opening scene with Scotty going on a tirade about what a piece of shit this ship,
the Klingon ship is. Yeah.
Oh no, the Enterprise.
Yeah.
At the beginning, when he's like, "I'm starting to think this was put together by monkeys."
Oh,
like that. Like he's just going off on this fucking thing.
There's another great line by McCoy, and it's in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, when Kang, right?
Chang.
Chang is going on one of his Shakespearean rants, and McCoy and Spock are trying to set up this torpedo, and Bones goes, "I would pay real money to get him to shut the hell up." Because there's no money in Star Trek. It's even though we do find out later that they have gold-laced latinum. Canada. I want to name two films from Canada: Hyena Road, modern war film, very good, and Storming Juno, the Canadian perspective of D-Day and hitting that beach, because there were Canadian forces hitting that beach. They were down the line from the U.S.
And they got chopped up too.
They got the shit shot out of them. And that is apparently a very considered high-rated film coming out of Canada for war. Because there are very few war films coming out of Canada, because they're always sorry. Then Australia.
They're not all Paul Chato, Gary.
What?
They're not all Paul Chato.
They're not all Paul Chato. Now, Australia has 3 films in particular. There's a lot of them. Australia's got a lot of great war films. A lot. One with Mel Gibson I liked that came out before he became Mad Max, that he did with
G-Force.
Was it G-Force? Was that the name of it?
Z-Force.
Zulu. Yeah, Zulu Force, Z-Force. And I'm trying to remember, I think, was that Rod Taylor that's in that?
No.
And I think Brian Brown's in it too.
No, Mel Gibson and Sam, the guy that was in Jurassic Park.
Sam Neill.
Oh, Sam Neill. Yeah. People forget he's an Aussie. But I love Danger Close. It's a very good film.
That was a good one.
Really good. It was. Gallipoli, the original.
Oh my God, that was
with Mel Gibson again.
Wonderful.
And my God, Breaker Morant.
Yeah.
All they did is they did what they were told to do, and they were tried and executed for doing their job. And I love that last line. And it's, some say he said it, some say that he didn't say it, but I believe he said it. The last thing that senior officer says is, "Shoot straight, you bloody bastards! Don't make a mess of it." Great.
In many ways, and it's going to sound like a whine coming from me because I'm a non-vet, but I kind of felt like that after I got home, and millions of us did. Okay, yeah. Because we came back to nothing but derision, and hey, it's just a matter of fact.
I was there with my brother. I was there with my brother when he came home, and I remember what happened with him. It's fucking awful that the media had done its part in making American soldiers look like the bad guys. And, and people like my daughter, when she said she wanted to be a hippie, I said, "You don't want to be a hippie. Hippies are gross and they're disrespectful, real hippies." I got to tell you, man, it's an embarrassing, shameful time
And you know, that's
American
why I love
society.
Tom Selleck. I loved Tom Selleck. I had a man crush on Selleck. And the reason was Magnum PI. Because up to that point, every TV show and a lot of movies had Vietnam vets portrayed as drug abusers, addicts, baby
Guys out of their
killers.
gourd, taking hostages. They did that with Trapper John, MD. That pissed me off. They did that on that show. But yeah, Magnum put Vietnam veterans in a normal light again. And I got to tell you, man, I loved Selleck for the same reason, because I've always been a big supporter of veterans, even as a kid. I loved being around veterans. What, Keith?
Well, I was just going to say, Magnum was definitely one of those unique shows. I think everybody that worked on that show was very respectful, and they knew what they were making. They knew how important it was. This was not a show to be taken lightly, the way that it was made fun of by certain people who would come along a little bit later to go up against that show. I think everyone from the top down really loved working on that show. And, you know, it was just one of those shows that if you really didn't understand or know anyone that was a veteran, it didn't make fun of them. It made them people. And ultimately what they ended up doing with that character of Magnum shows the kind of person that he really was, you know, as a character. Being a second generation vet, I think, is the way the story comes across on the television series, because his own father had served. The watch that he has was his dad's watch. And again, it was, it's one of my all-time favorite television shows. Best cast, best chemistry, best writing from beginning to end. And one of my all-time faves, you know.
I do remember interviewing with the creator. Forget the guy, the same guy that did.
But just to let you guys know, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have somebody here, so I'm going to go full screen here. There we go. So you can pop your head down in there, Scott.
No, I can't. I have to get close to you. Ah! The torture! Ah!
He's got an Ohio State shirt on. And I said, oh, you know,
see, I know.
And I said, yeah, I love Ohio. He said, don't you talk shit about Ohio State. I said, I love Ohio State.
No. I didn't say that. I didn't say the S word.
What did you? Yeah, he doesn't cuss. He'll flip me off, though.
No, I didn't do that. My finger was reaching out.
He's flipped me off. At dinner last night, they were sitting at the table. He flipped me off. And then he made Megan flip me off. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Will it make you feel better, Gary?
Nothing makes me feel better.
Fuck you.
So he said something about Ohio State. And I said, I love Ohio State. It's a great team. I also love other teams. But I said, Ohio itself is a shitty state.
Hey, teams
I'm helping you pack your stuff.
That's what he said. He said, okay, well, I'm going to go help you pack your stuff. Anima says hi.
Hey.
So anyway, I guess we should wind this up. Did I name all the films? I want to make sure I got all the films, because this is a good list. Yeah, Breaker Morant was the last one.
Well,
and if you've never seen Breaker Morant, go watch that movie.
Two films I would recommend everybody see: The Objective, Alien Outpost.
Both of them on the list. That was shared by Martin during the show. Martin, if you want to share them again, man, that'd be really cool. Martin, by the way, has been fully inducted by KGRA. He now has admin privilege. Stop talking now, Martin. It's my turn.
Don't worry, Martin. I'll help him pack his stuff. It's all good.
What? You serious? So he's fully integrated. He has been given admin to the KGRA StreamYard account. So he will continue being our chat manager for shows as they go over to KGRA. Eventually, we will no longer be doing our StreamYard. We're going to be broadcasting everything through KGRA. And but the good news is it'll still be connected to our YouTube. So all of our shows that will be on KGRA radio will also still be available to you guys here on here. And we want that chat because we're going to be interacting with you on the radio shows. And I like that. Don won't because he hates you guys.
Fuck you, Gary.
That's not what Don said.
Gary, I wonder
Is that what the email? I'm supporting you. Thank you for all your
fucking leg.
Is that what the email was about last week, where it says he hates all of you? Don't take that into consideration. By the way, only 5 swear words
fucking
per
leg
hour.
pogue. You leg
I'm sorry.
pogue.
No, my name's Tom Cruise. Hi, how you doing?
You leg
Use
poke.
more made-up swear words.
You RIMF. By the way, for those of you non-military, RIMF means rear echelon motherfucker.
I thought it meant related Gary.
The modern term, and I know the Marines I think use this too, is fobbits.
Yep, we used to call guys that all the time. They hate it.
Which is absolutely, yeah, they fucking hate that shit. Guys that don't go outside the wire. You know, non-infantry personnel. And Marine infantry and that's why there is this kinship between U.S. Army and the Marine Corps. And there's been this graying area where they cross over, because originally what Marines were supposed to do was run security for ships and for military, Department of Defense bases.
And by run security, he means keep the
Not
sailors
police.
off of each other.
Yeah, because like on a ship, a lot of security is run by the Marines. And someone goes, well, there are SPs on ships. I said, they're police. Their job is different than what the Marines are. It's completely different. They do 2 different jobs. Marines are there for security. They run security on secure areas, on ships, vessels of any kind, and as well as at the White House.
Warships.
Yeah, the White House.
Your larger warships, most of the gunners would be Marines.
Yeah, and never surprised by that stuff. And but the White House security is run by not the Secret Service, but the U.S. Marine Corps. And that's what pissed me off about Hillary Clinton personally, when she didn't like the Marines wearing uniforms in the White House and wanted them to wear suits like the Secret Service. And they're like, no, they're Marines. No. They're going to wear, they're not civilians, they're soldiers.
Place of duty.
And even though technically Marines aren't supposed to be called soldiers, I consider them soldiers because a soldier is boots on the ground, door kickers. And so I always recognize Marines as fellow soldiers. And our jobs cross over because there have been times, like Marines weren't used in Europe. All the insertion work in the European campaign of World War II was done by the U.S. Army. And that's where it began, the graying of the lines. Yep. The Marines were the first insertion forces for World War I. And they took on the Germans, the Huns, at Bella Wood. And it was
still our unit motto to this day.
Devil dogs.
With retreat hell, we just got here.
Retreat hell, we just got here. The Germans called them devil dogs.
Yep.
And it's a name that stuck.
The Battle of L.A.
I love that movie, dude.
Battle of Los Angeles. Yeah, that was a good movie. That came out
right
after I got
that
out.
freaking movie. I'm a big fan of that film. And I should mention that because as one of the films too, because really it shines a great light on the military.
And that's my regiment too, 5th Marines.
5th Marines, that's right. Great freaking action film. A lot of great visual effects, a lot of great combat in that film between humans and aliens. That pool scene in the laundry room.
Because you don't know any of the shit that's going on. You don't know what these creatures are. You don't know any of like the larger.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine the basic grunt getting any information that was really important, other than there are bad guys over there. I need you to kill them.
You need to shoot them.
Aaron Eckhart was fantastic. I mean,
yeah, he's really good. Wait a minute. What did Shellback just say? Marines are no longer security on ships.
Yeah, we're not on the ships anymore, unless you're on an.
What happened?
They just no longer wanted us doing it. We do still guard several Navy facilities, usually things involving nuclear weapons.
Yeah, the guys that usually run the posts, the gates, those are Marines.
A lot of them are civilians now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Man, the military's all fucked up today. Marines are fast attack, Army is strategic attack, as
Pretty
well
much.
as the way it was originally designed. Marines were insertion forces, Army was holding forces. We were there to hold the ground.
Don't tell the Rangers that.
Yeah. Now, I will tell you a little story about Bella Wood because my grandfather was there and he relayed this story to me that when the Marines needed to pull back, they needed a fucking break from all the combat. So they were pulled back and his unit was pushed forward. He was a bastard brigade, which really World War I was the only time you'll ever see that, where these guys, my grandfather was a cannoneer. You know, he was on a howitzer, you know, and all of a sudden he's a machine gunner. He got thrown into this group as a machine gunner. That wasn't what he was trained for. He was on a Hotchkiss. So his unit was pushed up to hold the line while the Marines were pulled back to take a break. And he says, when those Marines went walking by us, they all had their masks on. And they had, because of all the mustard gas, had popped out the lenses of their masks so they could see to aim.
Mm-hmm.
Making the mask completely useless. That's why there was so much mustard gas damaged to the Marines that fought there. What's that?
No one ever claimed we were bright.
Yeah, crayons and all.
my grandmother's brother, Uncle George, he was actually my great uncle, was gassed over there.
Oh, you did?
He was gassed.
Gassed? Yeah.
Fucked him up the rest of his life.
Wow. Same with my grandfather. My grandfather died technically of COPD, but his lungs were scarred by the mustard gas. He survived the war. My grandfather shook. His hands shook like this until the day he died. But the amazing thing that he had when he became intensely focused on something with a blade in his hand, he was professionally, he was a shoe cutter, leather cutter. But he liked to whittle and carve up fruit. He was always cutting up apples for us as kids. And the minute he would focus, the shaking would stop. But the minute he was done, the hands would start shaking. When he smoked, the smoke was had this interesting stuff to it because it was never a straight line. He had what we would call today PTSD, which has been around since Vietnam. Before that, it was first it was shell shock, and then it became combat fatigue. Which combat fatigue is a really good one. I think you and I talked about that on the phone. That was with Pope. Pope and I had a phone call. We were talking about the shit that it's a very good describer, combat fatigue, because it just fucking breaks you down and wears you down, and it's a physical and mental thing, and it led to what and Don's seen it too. I've seen guys with the 1,000-yard stare.
Oh yeah.
And you see these guys that's just been there too long in country, you know, and they get that stare where it's just like there's nothing. It's like they're looking, but they're not. It's like they're not there.
Lights are on, but no one's home.
Also, it's an out of focus thing. The eyes don't do that.
You're not focused on any one thing. You're just kind of
you're looking through everything.
Yeah.
And I think they tried to give Animal Mother that in Full Metal Jacket, and his buddy. And but it still didn't quite catch it. The cover I did Run Between the Raindrops for Dale Dye. I did the book cover for him. I think I captured the 1,000-yard stare pretty accurately. And if you've never seen it, hold on, let me find a copy of it so I can show you.
And while he's doing that, I want to thank all of our veterans, everyone that is on the panel today, Mr. Don, all of you guys. We appreciate all that you guys have done, what you sacrificed for, and from one individual to another. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. And we want to thank everyone for paying attention and participating in today's show as we're getting ready to wrap today's show up.
Yep, about to end it.
Thank you, Scott.
He said thank you. Don did. Pope said fuck you. No, Pope said thank you. He did it in his eyes. I saw it in his eyes.
The dog just fuck you.
Is that Bailey? Is that Bailey?
Yes, that's Bailey.
That sounded like a beagle barking to me.
That's Bailey.
So I just got your message, Keith. Keith List, Patton, great fucking movie. I'm not going to mention one that I've already said. Kingdom of Heaven, good film.
That was a solid
made some historical mistakes, but I still liked it.
I will throw out there that the director's cut is way better.
And Gary,
I've seen it. I own it. It is better.
You're having a problem with your mic, I think.
Who?
Yeah, you're roboting.
You, Gary.
Am I roboting?
You're roboting.
Yeah.
Am I roboting? Am I now? Hello? Am I now?
Yes.
Am I now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Stop downloading.
There you go.
Gary.
Is it better? Okay. The Great Escape, classic film. Saving Private Ryan, not on my list for a reason. Not because of the great combat scenes, obviously, but because Steven Spielberg fucked up so much in that film. Master and Commander, a movie that should have been a trilogy. And I'm pissed we never got the other films. And so apparently is The Star. Because he was expecting to get 3 films out of that. Black, well, I already said that. Black Cock Down. Full Metal Jacket. Did I mention Full Metal Jacket?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, I will say this. Full Metal
part of the list.
Jacket had one thing that I didn't like.
English.
There is no incident ever of a Marine recruit shooting a drill instructor. Never happened.
You're breaking again.
Oh, there was.
There are recruits who went missing that were supposedly AWOL.
Gary, you're
that I believe
breaking up
drill
again.
instructors killed.
It's like
I'm not breaking up with you. I love you.
It's the ship. It's the ship computer again.
Hello, computer.
No.
Hello, computer.
I got spyware on.
And Lawrence of
Now
Arabia is a good film. I like that one. I don't like the Bridge on the River Kwai because it's not true. It's an inaccurate telling of what happened there, and it's so inaccurate.
That bridge is still there to this day, as far as I remember.
Yeah, it's very
Well, it wasn't the bridge; it was bridges over the river. Kwai. There was multiple bridges built. The movie made the English commander the bad guy, and it's not true. It was a French commander, Pierre Bull, who wrote Monkey Planet, aka Planet of the Apes. Also wrote Bridge on the River Kwai. And when he wrote it, he knew as a Frenchman that it was the French who collaborated with the Japanese at that camp. But he switched it and made it the English. And it was an absolute betrayal. And that's why I don't like that film. And I love the fact that when they went to see the movie, veterans, POW veterans that went to see the movie, walked out of the movie. Got up and walked out. And so I stand with those guys. It's like, no, as beautiful a film as that is, it betrayed the actual men that were in that camp by making the Frenchmen not the bad guys, because they were the fucking bad guys. Let's see. And I got them all. That's it. Lawrence of Arabia, great film. Inspired some scenes from Book of Boba Fett, but couldn't save the show from itself because it was just bad.
Damon Lindelof ripped it off for Prometheus because he's a fucking hack.
Oh, well, yeah, because David.
David's basically just Lawrence
yeah,
mixed with baby.
Specifically Peter O'Toole. O'Toole's performance. Yeah. I kind of liked that aspect, but the movie was goofy. It's just dumb. Bad writing, you know. And David Lindelof's a fucking idiot anyway, so there you go. Ridley, his films, if his film's going to be good, it has to start with a solid script.
Yeah.
Whenever he starts with a good script, he has a good film. When he steps away and has too many rewrites done or brings somebody on to write it more to his satisfaction, he doesn't know how to tell a story. Ridley doesn't know. What What do you want me? What are you pointing at?
Dennis McCullough, $5 super chat.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, Dennis McCullough. I would recommend the movie Into the White, based on the real life events of World War II, of English and Nazi soldiers stranded in a cabin in a snowstorm. That kind of reminds me of the two incidences that I know about. One was for Christmas, and one was when they were soldiers in the trenches of World War I were being heckled by wolves. And both sides called for a ceasefire so they could kill these fucking wolves that were hitting their trenches and injuring people.
And the Christmas truce, it has to be the best story.
I love that story. It's so beautiful.
And if you guys haven't heard it, the band Sabaton did a version of it that's just, did a song about it. It's fucking beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, the saddest part after the Christmas truce, they made tradition on Christmas to shell the other side nonstop to prevent that from ever happening again.
Yep. Yeah, because a lot of people on higher command were pissed.
Just so and I'm going to pull it up here. Hold on. I got to go find my grandpa real quick. There's a photo of my grandfather. Actually, several photos. My grandfather's World War I on my show. Albums, because my grandfather on the final day of the war. One of the things I was talking to you about, Pope, was that my grandfather was part of a group that were going to draw lots to see who was going to frag their sergeant in his bunker, because he was ineffective. He would hide in there and not help them, leave them to fend for themselves when shit was going down. And so they were going to frag him. And what ended up happening is he got pulled out and they got a new sergeant, because I think word got out that they were planning to kill him. And the last day, it was announced by that sergeant. He walked up to him and said that on the classic 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month, they said 11 o'clock today. You'll hear. I think they said you'll hear a sound, which was a steam horn, whatever that's called, and that will be the armistice. He says, until then, smoke them if you got them. But you know what that means. So my grandpa just sort of shrugged, and he's like a squad leader, like I was, and just sort of like got up out of the trenches, started walking back to the rear, and he walked all the way back to the rear, and they're watching my grandfather trying to figure out what he's going to do, and he walked back to the artillery area, and he went over to one of the I'm assuming it was a howitzer, and because that's what he was trained on. He went over to the howitzer and by himself just kept loading and firing, loading and firing, loading and firing, loading and firing until 11 o'clock. And then he walked away because he despised the Huns, hated him. And he had that hatred for a long time. It's really funny. My grandfather hated Germans, and my dad had a hatred of Japanese from World War II.
That makes sense.
And and it's so weird because he was just a kid during World War II, but that was how they felt. They hated the Japanese. And I don't think he ever recovered from it, because I had Japanese friends, and he was nice to them, but he would still talk shit about Japan all the time. And I'm like, Dad, it's okay. The war's over. We can forgive and we can move on. And in fact, look what happened. What's his name? MacArthur set up a program to where they were able to eventually kick our ass in technology and manufacturing.
Yep.
And that's all because of what MacArthur did. As one gentleman said, the Japanese ate our lunch. And that, made us realize we needed to change things in America. We got to make sure quality is important for Americans, but we do need to produce to where we're competitive in the market. But for you, Dennis McCullough, thank you for your $5. Dennis was a sailor. I salute you, my friend. You're a squid, a swabby, a seaman.
Waiting for that one.
Love the Navy, man. And like I said before, U.S. Army, Joe's, dog face, grunt, a name we share with the Marines, which are leathernecks, jarheads, grunts, and then, of course, Navy, swabbies, the other one I just said, and seamen. And then U.S. Air Force, we always refer to as civilians in uniform.
Hey, Gary, Bailey wants me to ask you a question. When the hell are you going to stop bloviating and end this show so she can get fed? That's her question.
Well, Don, I have this to say.
We've got here is failure to communicate.
I want to thank you guys, and that's your video, Dennis, for thanking you for your $5. Although I will add this one. Okay. Oh wait, one more for you. Oh, it was just a dream.
That helmet was made in China.
I want to thank everybody for being here. Sox Bulletins, first on the line. Penny, Anima Confusa, love of my life. Scott Lewis, this guy right next to me right here. Scott Lewis. Colonizer Jeebus, I love that guy, man. I love him. He can get weird, but it's a weird I thoroughly enjoy, man. I love Jeebus. Dragon Ruse, Bill Barkley from Scotland. Funny thing about Bill Barkley, the other day we were derailing and he tried to get us back on track. Ironic, I know. James Ritter, Keto Simple, my friend Dustin. Wajid Leakey, Matt Vader, Brandon the Anime Guy, Alex Moore, Pissed Off Prosecutor, Tom, Real Wade Nation, Zax, Ford is Back, COD, Dork Knight, Dragon Ruse, Lord Thoth, Arwen Avalon, Deleted Scenes, the Peter Vickman fan side, Cam's Crash Courses. I want to make fun of Pope here. BRB, is that a person? Was that no, you had to go pee, huh? Oh, okay. Soul Assassin, AF Watcher 88, Daryl the Derelict, Joe's Atmosphere, a good friend of ours. Love that guy. Salute you, buddy. Salute all of you that served. Wolverine 626, Arlena's Jester of Sin. That is, I like these names they come up with. Magitech Mags, a gorgeous, brilliant young lady that I hope she never leaves us. She is such a valuable source and resource to all of our shows. 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. You know I love him. All 32 flavors. Daryl again, the derelict, because he came in again and then left. And Shellback TJC, I salute you, my friend. Kingsport Cal, thanks so much for being back here, buddy. We missed you for a couple of days there. Glad you're back. And by the way, I followed you back because I didn't realize I wasn't following you. So I'm following you now on Twitter. Fletcher Williams, Parrot Head, Dennis McCullough, and let's see, anybody else I missed? James Ritter, Hojo, Tim was here. Tim talking about what's his name from Star Wars sequels? Because he looks just like him. So weird.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. And of course, the last one on the list is Awesome One. I want to thank all you guys for being here. I hope you all have a great Veterans Day. Those of you that served, relax, chill out. It is a day for you. Let somebody else do the cooking, unless you're one of those controlling assholes that won't let someone touch the grill. I get it. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the Saturday show, Saturday Morning Fun Time, where you'll once again see Keith. He has replaced the satellite owned by Justice League as the protector of Earth. I want to thank Don for being here. God bless you, man, and welcome home, my friend. Always welcome home. Shanatsky, thanks for being here and being mostly quiet. I appreciate that more than you realize. Now, I'm going to tell you, Shanatsky, you're shit out of luck. Our meeting's going to get bumped to tomorrow because I've got to go do things now. The show went over an hour and a half longer than usual. I apologize. Unless you want to do it later tonight.
I can do later tonight.
Okay, I'm talking like 11 or midnight. Are you okay with that? Because then we can do it then.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it tonight then. So I want to thank Pope being here. Welcome home, my friend. Welcome home. Also,
rock.
Fuck you, Marine. I want to thank Fat Steven Seagal for being our friend. I'm so glad you're here and co-hosted this show with Keith and I. And of course, I want to thank Keith,
You're welcome.
who is
You're
not the
so
right
welcome.
side. You're so welcome. Fuck you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got my helmet on. Go take a shower.
Clearly, you have been around asbestos for too long, my friend.
I hate call it Gary.
Asbestos is the bestest.
Yeah, orange. Yeah, I sprinkle it on my shredded wheat.
Keith, thank you for always being here, my friend. And again, Martin, thank you for being the right side of my brain. You make these shows so much easier for me to do, and you take the stress off of me. Back to
Milwaukee.
Yeah, they're going to do this thing where he wants to delay the ending, so I got to do a backdoor video.
Like, wouldn't you know that back door would trigger a trap door? Yeah, and look where.
There you go.
You see what she's doing? You see?
Yo, Bailey's got the sad eyes. I need.
She says, "Where's my freaking dinner?"
All right, guys. Been a great show. Thanks so much. Happy Veterans Day to everybody, and every veteran deployed. Welcome home. Those of you that work stateside, doesn't matter. You served. It's not your fault if you didn't get deployed. The DOD, they're the ones who decide who gets to go and who doesn't.
And just remember, the green weenie comes for us all in the end.
That's right. And the big green weenie. Thanks a lot, guys. I deeply appreciate everybody being here. We had a great audience today. Great chat. Just have a great weekend. And Keith and I will see you tomorrow, Saturday, 12 noon Central Standard Time. That's 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And for those of you on the left coast, that's what is that? 11, 10, some shit like that. No, 10. Yeah, Don's stuck there in the left coast. So fuck you, dude. Oh, Shellback, you asshole. God damn you. I was almost out. Let me get to the video. You son of a bitch.
Open your back door, baby. Loosen your hinges, I'll show you my key.
Backdoor.
Phrasing.
Well, about time for me to be hitting the old dusty trail.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Pop Culture Minefield. If you've enjoyed the show, please make sure to like, subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell icon for updates on our shows and channel.
Yeah,
also,
that shit's
please
cool.
leave a comment, and we'd like to know what you thought of the episode, as well as letting us know if there's something you'd like us to
Tell us
cover
more,
in a
Keith.
future episode.
Tell us some more.
Don't forget that you can become a member of Pop Culture Minefield now.
That's right. You can become
Make
a
sure to
member. We have
visit our
some
membership
great members.
page and
For the love
merch
of
store
God, let
at
it end.
popcultureminefield.com.
It's almost there.
You can always find Pop Culture Minefield
That's what she
on
said.
Twitter,
See the
Facebook,
light? Go
Instagram,
into the light,
YouTube,
Steven.
and Twitch.
No, turn back to the light. Hell.
Hey, I directed this. Martin Acosta Santana. Yeah, Keith and Gary. All those names, including Mike Canal. Fat Steven first on the list there. See that? Fuck you, Shanazi.
Fuck you, Gary.
Please press the red button.
That's all, folks.
Y'all come back now.